WRUB HD3 Clearwater and the mighty AM 620 WDAE St. Petersburg, an iHeart radio station.
It's time, man! The stage is set!
Welcome.
Welcome home, baby. I like this kind of party!
Putting the fun in dysfunctional.
Yeah!
Each and every weekday morning, the Pat and Aaron Show.
Is it a little too early for being that loud?
Good morning, Tampa Bay.
And here we go.
Now your hosts, Pat Donovan and Aaron Jacobson.
Good morning, goons. Welcome to the Pat and Aaron Show on 95.3 WDAE and AM 620, coming to you live on a Waechter Wednesday at what feels like the end of the world out there. I'm telling you.
Oh, relax.
I don't know what the hell's going on. Listen, I'm not even talking about here where it's just cold and gross and rainy.
Yeah.
There's inches of snow in Florida, in Pensacola, Florida. Like,
Yeah.
I'm seeing these videos, and I'm like, this can't be real life.
New Orleans, my friend from New Orleans sent me a video. It is crazy. I've never seen anything like that.
What is going on?
It's one of those.
Is hell
times.
freezing over?
No, it's just one of those things. It's one of those seasons that everything's coming together for that worst concoction of weather. It's terrible. Listen, we're not used to getting 40s regularly and then cold rain.
It was not 40 degrees when I got up this morning at my house.
What was it?
39. 39.
Cold rain.
Cold
and
as
snow.
balls, man. I don't like it. Something has to happen. Florida needs to
What do you want to do?
get back to Florida. I don't know.
You just suck it up.
I can't.
Wear your sweater like you are today.
I'm cold.
Pull up your pants. Be a man.
Oh, man. I would look for the drop, but I'm too cold to do it. Listen, it feels like the end of the world for some Bucs fans as well. And if you missed the reporting yesterday, Rick Stroud reported, and we know Liam Cohen today will get a second interview with the Jacksonville Jaguars, this time an in-person interview with the Jacksonville Jaguars. And listen, he's not the only one, so this isn't necessarily a done deal, although that's what a lot of people suspect is that Liam Cohen, and we've had betting websites tell us that he was the odds-on favorite and all these different things. But they are also going to do, and Aaron, I'm very interested to see how you feel about this one, because I'm fairly surprised. I'm not as surprised they're going to do another interview, by the way, with Patrick Graham, who is the Las Vegas defensive coordinator. I am very surprised that Robert Saleh is getting a second and an in-person interview with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Me too. His name being floated around. I understand people feel bad for Robert Saleh and what he went through with the Jets. It doesn't mean you just gift him a head coaching job.
I was going to say.
What has he done to earn a head coaching job, another opportunity? Now, I'm not saying ever, right? I'm not saying ever. Well, if there was ever, right? If you went to the Jets organization and never got another gig again, we'd never have Todd Bowles here, right? Like, you got to give guys other opportunities. But what did Todd Bowles do in between that time? He went to Tampa Bay and helped win a Super Bowl as a defensive coordinator and earn that second opportunity as a head coach.
Also, if we're being fair, wasn't necessarily interviewed and hired for the job.
Yeah, it was Bruce Arians handed him the job, essentially.
I mean, the Glazers obviously approved it and were clearly happy to do it and have kept him since. So it's not as if they were strong-armed into it by any means.
Maybe it's time for a taste of a little repeat, little own medicine. Move Todd Bowles to the front office. And
well, he's not. No, listen.
Liam Cohen, head coach.
I don't see it happening, man. And I've said that I thought that the Buccaneers should try to offer him an assistant head coach position and a hefty raise and say, you are the guy within a few years when Todd Bowles is going to likely retire. But I don't think you can just fire Todd Bowles.
And, to your point, we kind of heard that about Byron Leftwich. And it doesn't always shake up that way. Things happen. And I think
Heard what about Leftwich, though? Like, a lot of people expected him to be a head coach.
A lot of people thought
he wasn't necessarally the predecessor. That was never
well, his successor would be it.
I'm sorry.
I had heard that obviously there's just rumors that they were setting it up for Byron Leftwich to be able to take it over at some point.
I mean, if that was the case, they could have easily gone that direction instead of Todd Bowles.
Well, no, I think they realized over time that Byron wasn't the guy they thought he was.
Yeah, I mean,
everyone did. The whole league did.
That's certain, but we don't know that. Like, I've never heard that like directly reported that they were definitely going to give the
I never
job
said
to
definitely.
Byron Leftwich.
Never said definitely, but it seemed like the way. First of all, we had always been hearing about Byron Leftwich getting an opportunity.
Yeah.
We knew Bruce Arians wanted him to get an opportunity.
But I think many people thought and expected it to be somewhere else, and it almost was in Jacksonville, by the way, which is ironic. But I don't think anybody thought it was going to be here because I don't think anybody expected Bruce Arians to leave even when he did.
The shelf life of Bruce Arians wasn't long. We all knew that. I think you forget it at the time. He has always had health issues, and it was always a question of how long will he be there? How long will Bruce Arians want to coach this team? And it was long enough to bring Tom Brady in and win a Super Bowl. So when we look just specifically at this Jacksonville job, I am very, very concerned that maybe even by today, if you listen to the reporting from Rick Stroud of the Tampa Bay Times, that he might be gone. And if that's the case, we're talking about the search for a fourth offensive coordinator in the last 4 years. And it makes sense why Jacksonville would want Liam Cohen. If you talk the three guys you just mentioned, who is the most offensive minded? It's obviously Liam Cohen.
Well, he's the only offensive minded one.
The
other two are both
coordinators.
The other two are both defensive guys and have been defensive guys. Now, what's interesting, and I said this to you before the show, I do think you can make the argument that if you're bringing back three guys for a second interview and two of them are defensive-minded coaches, maybe you're actually leaning towards a defensive-minded head coach. Now, do I think it makes sense for the Jacksonville Jaguars to lean towards a defensive-minded head coach? I don't. I think that you have to look at Trevor Lawrence at this point as kind of a reclamation project. You have to look at Trevor Lawrence as a guy that you have to get on track to be, because you took him first overall. You need that kid to become not like a pretty good quarterback, but a franchise quarterback. And he hasn't done that yet. And the guy that it certainly looks today gives him the best opportunity to do that. And it's why I'm surprised Todd Monken, unless he just bowed out himself, I'm surprised that Todd Monken is not part of this discussion. As I said to you, I think he's an even better candidate than Liam Cohen is today to be a head coach. But if I'm Trent Baalke, I don't know what I'd be doing because I'm not a very good GM if I'm Trent Baalke. But if I'm looking to hire the next head coach of the Jaguars, it certainly is an offensive-minded head coach. I'm trying to talk myself into it being one of the other guys because I'd really like that to be the case. But that doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, it's about who they offer the job to. And I agree that it's probably a good chance it's Liam Cohen.
If you're going by offense, and especially if you're going by recent track record, it's Liam Cohen. If you're going at Robert Saleh's recent track record, how did that go?
Well, if you're going by Robert Saleh's recent track record, then you probably wouldn't have him back for a second interview, right? You have to believe, to bring him in for a second interview, you clearly believe that what happened in New York was not his fault, right? You've sat down with Robert Saleh, you've had a conversation, and he said to you, hey, I had a bad owner in Woody Johnson who didn't like making smart moves because of his Madden and his kid and all this nonsense. Like, I had a bad owner. And, oh, by the way, when Aaron Rodgers came to town, he took over everything. And he started making personnel decisions with the people upstairs. And there was nothing I could do. And if you're the Jaguars and you believe that, then you again, why would you have him for a second interview if you're just going to look at what happened in New York? There's no reason to do it.
Yeah, that's fair. I think I don't know why he would be looked at anyway. It wouldn't be my top coaching candidate, but I'm not a GM in this league. And when you talk about Patrick Graham, all right, you look at the Raiders defense, battled a lot of injuries, a lot of youth there. They weren't bad, got better, improved. You ready for this guy to be your coach? You think, the improvements that you saw in the Raiders, what did it do to help them? The offense is still poor. Same thing in Jacksonville.
He's a guy that he is not going to get, if he were to get an opportunity, it's not going to be on results. It's going to be on the interview, right? There are guys that, again, what the hell did we know about Liam Cohen 12 months ago? I'll tell you what I knew. Zero. So you just never know what a guy knows, how good of a coach a guy is until he gets an opportunity. And if you haven't sat down in an interview with him, because I wouldn't have suspected he would be a guy that got a second interview, but he has. So very interesting stuff. Also, overnight there was a lot of talk that it might be done in New York with the New York Jets and Aaron Glenn becoming their next head coach, which is very interesting because if you look around now, That's both coordinators from the Detroit Lions, and they have to all of a sudden rebuild their coaching staff, which, by the way, Aaron, is not good news for us. It's not good news for the Buccaneers. You know, I said to you, if we do lose Liam Cohen, they're going to get a good coach. And I still think they're going to get a good coach, but I was saying to you basically like how attractive a job the Buccaneers offensive coordinator position is today. If you looked at what Dave Canales did, went and got a head coaching job. Now if Liam Cohen turns around and gets a head coaching job, you know the pieces that are in place here, the year that they just had. If you're a coach that wants to be an offensive coordinator, and by the way, then potentially become a head coach, what better place to be than Tampa Bay? Well, you can make the argument Detroit.
You can make the argument. Then it comes down to family and what situation is, in my mind. Like if all things are considered equal, right? You can look now. Listen, do I think the Lions' offense is more dangerous than the Bucs? Yes. Do I think you can compare them? Absolutely.
Yeah.
When we talk about top 5 offenses, your top 5 offense. When you have a strong run game like the Bucs and the Lions do, you have a strong quarterback, you have some good receivers. That offense and a good offensive line, very comparable to what you're trying to do as an offensive coordinator. Then to me, it comes down to, and this is everyone's different. It comes down to, do you want to live in Detroit with your family, or do you want to live in Tampa Bay?
I would want to go to the place that set me up best for my career. Right?
Well,
I think that's the
who
only
has had more of a
decision you
track
can make.
record to send off offensive coordinators to head coaches?
Well,
you look at the Buck, and now obviously
that's not really fair because Ben Johnson could have
held
left
out
last year.
Yeah, Ben Johnson held out, but you look at
Oh, and by the way, they've got 2 this year, with Aaron Glenn getting a job as well. Likely
you're right.
in New York,
You're
as I
right.
just said.
But you look at the Bucs. Dave Canales, 1-year offensive coordinator, head coach. Liam Cohen, 1-year offensive coordinator, head coach. Next guy. You don't think that's going to cross his mind? It will.
Yeah, no, that's what we just said. But Detroit is a place where you can make the argument is just as good of a job, if not a better one. Certainly, if you want to win a Super Bowl, I think a lot of people think they're better set up. I think they're both very close, honestly. But the Bucs have to make the right moves this offseason. But either way, it makes it very interesting without question.
Tough loss for the Tampa Bay Lightning late yesterday in Montreal. Tied game late in that game, 2-2, and the Habitants score that late goal late in the third period to go up and win that game against the Lightning 3-2. A very, very close game yesterday in Montreal.
Yeah, and they still. I'm waiting for this team to feel like a true Stanley Cup championship competitor.
Yeah.
Like you guys believe they are. I haven't seen it yet. And this kind of like the way they played the last couple nights is part of it. It's back-to-back on the road in Canada. It's certainly not an easy trip to make.
Yeah, but they had a ton of opportunities yesterday that they didn't take advantage of. And I know you're on the road. You're going to have to be better than that. If you want to be the best of the best, you want to beat the best teams, you got to take advantage of opportunities in front of you. And they didn't do that yesterday in Montreal.
Exactly. Yeah. The opportunities are good, but like you said, you got to close the deal. All right, Casey Warner is going to close the deal. When it comes to today's top headlines, he's going to tell us all the top stories in sports. That's coming up next. But first, your future is so important, and Trajan Wealth is going to help you out here when we're talking about retirement planning and wealth management. And there's a ton of uncertainties. I mean, when you think about your retirement, what are you seeing? Yeah, there's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of unknowns. Let Trajan Wealth help you craft a plan that's going to meet your goals. Call them today at Trajan Wealth, 813-550-1000. Consultations are complimentary, so reach out today, 813-550-1000. They've got offices conveniently located in your backyard right here in Tampa Bay. But if you'd rather do a virtual appointment, if that's more comfortable for you, they'll do that for you, because at Trajan Wealth, they're in it for you. They're the type of people you want to work with, and they would love to talk with you about your financial goals today, as they can help you develop a plan that's going to give you that peace of mind. And when we're talking about retirement planning, when we're talking about wealth management, you want that peace of mind. You want that stress off of your plate, off of your shoulders, and that's what Trajan Wealth's going to do for you. 813-55
Aaron Show on 95.3 WDAE and AM 620. Top headlines.
Time for today's top headlines. By the way, big fun show on the day today. Not only is it Waechter Wednesday this morning at 8 a.m., but also our friend David Hersey, big OG goon, coming in with some ribs. He's going to just feed. I mean, he sent me a picture of those ribs this morning. I sent them over to Aaron. They look so good.
Yeah.
They look so good.
You don't want to know what I did with that picture.
I don't want to know what you did with that picture. Also, the great Ben Maller, if you haven't heard us, if you haven't heard him, he's leading into us every morning. He does the overnights now on Fox Sports Radio. He's, of course, been with Fox Sports Radio forever. He's going to join us, talk a little bit about his show, a little bit about sports. That's coming up in just about 12 minutes or so. He's going to join us at 6:30. So a lot going on the program today. But first, it is time for today's top headlines, young man, Casey Warner.
All right, let's get it started. First things first, it was a great night last night out at Diesel Garage Trivia up in Palm Harbor. Shout out to Brandon and Aaron from Holiday.
The first family of the Goon Squad.
Yes, and Captain Khakis Jr., all you all out there that listen to the Pat and Aaron Show, diehard Goons. They had the Goon Squad name represented on their team name sheet for trivia. Love that.
The thing I love about them is now we have some amazing listeners and we have loyal listeners. Like David coming in today, extremely loyal. There's some people.
And Kevin, we see all the time.
Yeah, yes. Tiffany and Kevin are in this category too.
Yeah.
But they don't have any kids, I don't believe. So when I'm talking, like, as far as family goes, like Brandon and Aaron bring Captain Khakis, they bring their daughter, like they come to a ton of events. They like make a. Now I know people that have brought their kids to baseball games and stuff, which we love. But Aaron and Brandon are at like every event.
You
they like
tiptoe so well.
Well, I know
other people have kids.
Well,
too.
no, because here it is. I don't want any. I know there are a lot of people that have been to events and are probably listening. Like, wait, I brought my kid to your event. That's awesome. Like, and I love that. Aaron and Aaron and Brandon doesn't make them any better. This is me tiptoeing. It doesn't make them any better than you. But they do. They come to every event with their kids. And like anytime anyone shows us a little love and comes to our event, whether it's one event or a lot of events, we really do appreciate it.
How long until Aaron's mom texts him to stop being a P again?
I'm not being a P. I really mean that. Like, I truly mean that. I appreciate that they come and bring their family.
Tiptoeing. Of course,
yeah,
we appreciate it.
You know what? Screw the tiptoeing. F this, F that. I told you during the break, I'm out for blood today. Only hot takes today. Only bloodthirsty takes today.
Yeah.
Get ready. Get ready. Starting now.
Let's go.
Congrats, though, on 19 years.
Yeah.
That is impressive. Heidi and I, we're a few months away now from, just a couple months away from 20 years.
Stop stealing the moment. And everyone else, great, Aaron, Brandon, you guys are awesome. Everyone else, you suck. Be better. Come to more events. I'm out for blood.
It was really cool, too. Of course, I had to get my drink on while I was at the bar. And I
No way.
And I asked Brandon, I was like, you want to do a shot for your anniversary? I'll get you one. And I was like, I'll take you as maybe a Jaeger guy. And he's like, no, not really. But I always do them with my friends just because, I'm not a little P and I'll do it. So me and him did a little Jaeger shot together. So shout out to Brandon for doing the Jaeger shot.
Breaking news on today's top headlines. Casey had a shot last night.
You don't have to have a shot if you're at the bar. And second,
Do you know who you're talking
I
to?
know. Dude, can I have an intervention with you? And not about drinking. Drink all you want. I don't care. Burst your liver
Says
in
the
half.
one that gave me two 1.75 liters of Jim Beam.
Yeah, of Jim Beam, which I don't love, but you like it. This is not, dude, drink your liver away. I don't care. Don't put Jaeger in that thing. Jaeger's disgusting.
It's all right. It's kind of like
It's
kind
bad.
of just like a feel good thing. Like when I found out it was their anniversary, I was like, it calls for some Jaeger. Some.
It's your
Not terrible.
It's your celebratory drink. It is terrible. It's licorice in a bottle.
You know what's worse than the Jaeger is the Red Bull. Do a Monster Bomb instead. They taste even better.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I can't do vodka Red Bulls anymore since 2009 when I went to Europe and all we drank was vodka Red Bulls. And, you do too many of those. You
I
have
don't
too
think
many
I've
bad
ever had
nights.
that.
You would don't do it because you won't stop.
I got scared off the energy
it's kind of
drinks.
like a girly drink. So yeah, you definitely like it, Pat.
Well, vodka Red Bull's a girly drink?
I mean, it's sweet and not,
Oh, sorry, I don't take straight swigs of Jägermeister to the dome.
I usually don't do it straight.
I'll call you soft all day long, but I love me a girly drink. Give me the girly drinks.
I'm not soft. Ian Beckles comes in tomorrow. Doug Waechter comes in today. I'm out for blood. Nobody's taking advantage of me. Nobody's making fun of me. That's it. It's over, people. It's
All
over.
right. So let's hear your first take on this right here. Baseball Hall
First
of
take.
Fame. Yeah. Baseball Hall of Fame announced yesterday. Ichiro Suzuki selected almost unanimously on his first year on the ballot. 99.7% of the vote. CC Sabathia in with 86.8% of the vote on his first year on the ballot. He says he's wearing a Yankees cap on his plaque, by the way. And then Billy Waechter with 82.5% of the vote in his 10th year on the ballot. Aaron Jacobson, does Billy Waechter belong in the Hall of Fame?
Absolutely.
First take, there it is.
Listen, that's one thing. And for me, I have trouble saying a guy doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame when they get in the Hall of Fame. Like, I know there are guys in every Hall of Fame that are questionable, but they got in. Like, let them celebrate their moment without being like, well, you're not good enough. I don't love that. However, I think there's a more important conversation to be had. I think we need to find the 1%. And we need to find, like, I mentioned Ben Maller's coming on the show in a few minutes. I was listening to him on the way in, and I loved one of the. He said that baseball writers are the biggest group of a-holes in sports. And, I mean, seriously, we need to find the 1% of these a-holes, of these idiots, who didn't vote for Ichiro Suzuki. The fact that this dude was not unanimous is ridiculous. And, like, you're out. You're not a Hall of Fame voter anymore. You're a stiff. And get the hell out.
It would have been the second time it's ever happened unanimously. Mariano Rivera did it in 2019. Derek Jeter came very close. Both of those are unanimous to me.
Is that not enough of a sign? The fact that he'd only be the second player? How is that possible? There haven't been like Ken Griffey Jr. wasn't a unanimous Hall of Famer. Like, I know there's a lot of guys you can probably think of that had the steroid stuff involved, and maybe that's why they aren't not in at all, let alone a first ballot guy. But there's plenty of guys I think you and I could both name that should have been. Tony Gwynn shouldn't have been a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Ken Griffey, first ballot Hall of Famer, but we're talking about 99.7 and 100%. Like, you're close enough. I love this class. I think it's very fitting. You look at Ichiro Suzuki and CC Sabathia, first and second in 2001 in the AL Rookie of the Year voting. They later were teammates together.
Awesome.
Yeah, in New York with the Yankees. You know, CC, when I think of CC, I think of 2008. You know, I was an 18-year-old kid, and I loved baseball. And to watch him move over, go to Milwaukee, and throw, like, it seemed like every time he was out there was on 3 days rest. Went 11-2 during that streak, 1.65 ERA. Brewers went to the postseason for the first
Hitting
time
home runs.
First time in 26 years. The Brewers went to the postseason that year. That's the year I remember CC where I'm like, that guy's a beast. That guy's dominant. So love Ichiro, love CC getting in, and Billy. Listen, it is hard to be a reliever, primarily a reliever, to get into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
He struck him out with the best of them. One of the greatest strikeout pitchers out there, and he did it for so long.
He was dominant for a long time.
Yeah,
You're right.
Final year on the ballot for him. It's very hard for relievers to get in, but I certainly think when you look at his resume between the Astros for such a long time, some time with the Mets, and a little time with the Phillies, he was very, very good and has one of the best, actually the best, all-time strikeout rates. His 11.9 strikeouts per 9 innings, the most among pitchers with at least 900 innings.
All right, that's today's top headlines. The great Ben Maller from Fox Sports Radio. He joins us next.
DAE and AM 620.
Pat Aaron 95.3 WDAE and AM 620. The great Ben Maller, he precedes us every day, actually overnights for us, on Fox Sports Radio. And as soon as that happened, I was psyched because, listen, the overnight stuff we had before was fine. It was informational, but it wasn't fun. And that's what I love about the Ben Maller Show is it's always fun. And we want to welcome Ben into the show. And Ben, thanks for joining us. Good morning. How are you?
I agree. You know, we put the capital F on fun. That is the goal, the capital F on fun. But it's great to be on. I'm very happy to be on the station, guys. I don't know if you know this, but years ago I actually tried. I sent one of those cassette tapes. I think the station was on like a different frequency. But I sent, when I was starting out, I sent a tape in. I, of course, was rejected to work at the station. So I love the fact that we're on there, and it's great to be on your show this morning.
Was it 1250 WDAE at the time? Because that was the early days here.
Yeah, I'm old. I guess I'm getting old. Yeah, it was like, I think it was 1250 on the AM dial. Yeah, but you guys are like cool. You're on FM now, and AM. You got a little bit of everything. So,
that was like 3 program directors ago, Ben.
That's only 3 program directors, really?
No,
I'm surprised it's only that many.
Much more than that. Much more than that. Aaron's only 34, so I think sometimes he thinks nothing before that happened. But no, I think it's definitely been much more than 3 or 4. I think over the years. But listen, there's a lot of angry sports talk radio out there, and and Aaron and I, we're the same way. Like we can't understand that. Your show, you really do focus on the funny in sports, which is why I enjoy it. Talk about just the way you've built that show, that audience. We've got some similar knuckleheads. The Maller Militia. How big of a part of your show has the Maller Militia become? Because I don't think a lot of people know how to utilize the weirdos as well as you do.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah. So I love radio. I grew up, obviously, like all of us in doing this, we grew up listening to different people or whatnot. So just over the years, I've been doing it a long time, and I've been putting stuff together. I go out. I spend my own money, go out and meet people around different cities. I did a meet and greet in Kansas City and whatnot. And I guess you guys are going through the same thing I've experienced in my career, where the people, the people that listen and the people who call the radio shows are often a lot different. Like the people that call, it's like a moth to a flame for me. I've always had some very interesting characters. Plus, I'm on at night, and people do crazy stuff at night more so than maybe during the day. So they've always found me, and there have been some people that have called me over the years, guys, that I was convinced were fake. I thought I was getting punked. I thought, this person's not real. And then I've ended up meeting them. And it's like, whoa, that person's actually it's crazy. But it's all in good fun. And the great thing about it is, I'll rant about sports too. It's not just like we goof around, but I'll rant about sports. And then people will get so worked up. It blows me away how upset some people get by certain sports takes. It just is fascinating to me. But yeah, these guys have been with me a long time. I've got some people that have been listening for 20 plus years. It's crazy how fast the time goes, but we're all getting older, I guess. But the show's maintained. Much like I'm sure your show, guys, you go through different eras with the callers. People move on, callers, shows, whatever. So we've had different groups of callers. Back in the old days, I had some of Howard Stern's guys that were calling me, Pete in Pittsburgh and some other characters from his show back when he was popular and stuff. So it's been interesting. It's been unique, and keep going as long as they'll allow me to.
Yeah, we got one guy who a lot of people, at first I didn't think he was real. And then we realized he is real because people had met him. And then all of our listeners thought he wasn't real. He goes by Buccaneer John. He lives in Virginia. I wish he was on the line right now because we would have put him on with you. He literally hangs on the line, Ben, for 3 hours. Doesn't like to listen on the radio. He likes to listen on hold. So typically throughout the show, we'll just go to him and he'll just be like making noises and grunting. And people think it's like a sound drop, but it's actually him just for 3 hours having a conversation with himself during our show. So I know exactly what you mean. What's wrong with us we came up with the Goon Squad. You've got the Maller Militia. We just need we need something around our name that sounds good and shows us that we have people behind us in our group.
Yeah, it's very important for our egos being, we need that to fatten it up. I have a guy, Hollering James, who is much like your guy from Virginia. Like, he calls me up and he actually has been kicked out of a couple of homes because he starts yelling. He starts hollering on the radio. That's how he got the nickname. He's been literally kicked out of places he lived because he loved the show so much he started screaming. And I met him. I did. He lives in Minnesota. I met him a couple of years back. I was in Minnesota, and he's just like he is on the radio. Like some of these guys are not quite like it, but it is interesting. It's been a lot of fun. There was a woman years ago in Oregon named Jeannie in Medford. She passed away a couple of years back, but I was convinced she was not real. And the reason she started, you guys will appreciate this. The reason she started calling my show, she's not really in the demo that we were looking for at the time, or now per se, but kind of an older woman. But she actually called. She was lonely, so she called 911 to talk to somebody. She got arrested. You're not allowed to do that unless it's an emergency, and so. They told us to just find a radio show to call in, so she found my show at like 3 a.m.
That's amazing.
And she called me for like 10 years, and she was amazing. She was one of the great callers to talk radio ever. Amazing caller.
That's great.
It's Ben Maller. You can hear him on the Ben Maller Show every night leading into our show in the morning. And again, it's certainly made our drive to work a lot more fun. Speaking of, I was listening on the way in this morning. Not as sold on our Liam Cohen as we are here in Tampa Bay, Ben.
No, I'm not. I saw he was with the Rams. He's part of the McVay tree. He had coffee with Sean McVay and all that. And I remember him with the Rams, and it didn't work out. Like he left during the season. He went, I think, Kentucky or so. He went to a college job during the season. I'm always skeptical of these offensive coordinators because most of them, they're good play callers, but it doesn't mean you can be like a good head coach. I mean, the rumor is Jacksonville is likely to, I'm sure you guys have talked about this, or we'll talk about it all morning, that Jacksonville's going to likely hire him, and I'm just skeptical of those guys. I remember Adam Gase with the Jets. I remember, go through a whole list of these guys who had amazing resumes, or so it seemed, and I'm skeptical. You look at like the top coaches, a lot of them were never even coordinators, like Mike Tomlin, Andy Reid. I don't think Sean McVay was either. And so it's more about leadership than it is play calling. But who knows? I mean, he could turn out to be fine. And if he doesn't go to Jacksonville, then you have him back next year, so there's nothing to worry about.
Yeah. What about guys like Robert Saleh? I mean, when I look at him, and obviously with Todd Bowles in Tampa Bay, he didn't have success in New York as their head coach, went as a defensive coordinator here in Tampa Bay and got another opportunity. Do you think it's like too early for a Robert Saleh to be getting those calls? Or, for me, I feel like people feel bad for him still for everything that happened in New York.
Yeah, like my take on Robert Saleh, I think I said this overnight, is like he's the kind of guy, he's such a sweet talker. He's got that personality. Like everyone loves him. Like he's the kind of guy, I'm jealous of that because I'm terrible at interviewing for jobs, guys. I don't know about you, but I get nervous. I have flops. But he seems like the kind of guy that could go into a sawmill and sell them sawdust and be like, this is the greatest sawdust in the world, and they'd buy it. Like he's a tremendous speaker, and he's got that gift for gab. And you watch these NFL broadcasts, the way they talk, the way they sweet talk the broadcasters, Robert Saleh, like he's like the most amazing guy in the world. You want to have him as your best friend. And I remember when he was with the 49ers as the defensive coordinator, they were talking him up. And I'm always, like I said, I'm always skeptical of those guys. But yeah, Robert Saleh, I would not be shocked the way from what I've heard about him, the way he talks, and he's a sweet talker. All he needs to do is get in the room with the right people for Jacksonville or somewhere like that, and he would end up getting a head coaching job. And we know guys like Doc Rivers in the NBA is kind of like that. Doc is the kind of guy, he keeps getting these jobs. He's not very good at them. He keeps getting these jobs, and because it's all about who you can impress. Really, that's the most important thing. Can you win the interview? And he's really good at that.
Talking with Bill Miller from the Ben Maller Show right now. No, Ben, listen, anybody who listens overnight a little while before our show, they always say, I'm going to do another kind of behind the curtain radio question. Hopefully it's interesting to our listeners, but I'm just being selfish because I'm interested. When I'm on the way in, you seem to do this, I think it's like once a morning, or maybe I just hear it once on my way into work. You always have this segment where you take all these things and you put them together, and you're going to make a baba ganoush, or you're going to do something along those lines, and you take all these different weird references and you build them into a sports story. And if you haven't heard, if you're listening overnight, make sure you turn it on, because to me it's a point when I hear you say we're going to take all these things, I turn the radio up because I'm very interested in what the hell you're going to say. Like, where did you come up with that idea? Because it's fascinating and I love listening to it.
Well, I appreciate that from another radio professional. That means a lot. I thank you for that, seriously. But B, I've done these monologues over the years, and I was like, as a listener, because I do love radio, I guess, so I got into it and audio content and all that. So I was like, I try to figure out what I like and how I can make it a little different. Like if I'm listening along, the reason I started doing that, and I haven't done that my whole career. I started probably 15 years ago doing that, but because it's ranting and raving pretty much. So if I give you a point that I'm going to mention, like you're listening, and then as you're listening, you're going to wait for it, and you'll be like, yeah, I heard that. Now how am I going to work that into the rant I'm giving about whatever, whether it be the Buccaneers or the Vikings or whoever I'm talking about that night. So, just jot down a few notes, a few bullet points, and kind of put them all together and put the puzzle pieces together. And it's something that's worked for me. And then I take a bunch of goofy calls the rest of the hour. But it's really just something that I've, by trial and error, I've put together over the years, and it's worked for me.
Will you give us blanket immunity on stealing your bits?
Oh, yeah. No, listen, feel free. Now, you will be called out on it. The Maller Militia, my guys will let me know.
Good.
Oh, I love it.
No, we'll let you know what. I'm letting you know right now.
No, whatever you want. If you want to play Password the Word Game of the Stars, you can do that. And you can learn how bad your listeners can spell. What I love is I used to do a spelling bee back in the day. I tried that for like a couple of weeks.
Get the mayor of Philadelphia on that.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Nobody knows how to spell. Math is some of the more interesting callers, like Marcel in Brooklyn. I have a guy in Maine that calls me up, Blair in Maine, and I asked him like basic math questions. That did not go well. That was a disaster. So yeah, I mean, I've tried just about every radio bit you can possibly imagine. So, and a few of them have been good, and I have a rotation of things that I've done. And we're actually going to try a new game. I keep meaning to try it. We were supposed to try it a couple weeks ago, and then we had these big fires out here in LA, so I was unable to do it, and I've been rather lazy the last week, so I haven't gotten to it. But we're going to start a new game in a couple of weeks with Lorena, who knows nothing about sports. So my engineer, and so we're going to have some fun with her on Lorena. So we'll get to that in a couple of weeks. But it's been fun just trying different stuff, and yeah, whatever you guys want, feel free. You're a teammate, right? You're part of the family,
right.
So knock it out. Yeah.
By the way, we do have to get you out of here, but before we let you go, you mentioned Lorena. I noticed our producer, Casey, was on the phone with you for about a minute before we got you onto the air here. He wasn't asking you to put in a good word with Lorena, was he?
Well, he should have, but no. We were reminiscing about the Rams. Actually, that's what.
Sports.
Not surprised by that at all. He does love his Rams. Ben, always appreciate your time. Love listening to you on the way in on Fox Sports Radio. Now that we've switched back over to FSR here on 95.3 WDAE, always a pleasure. And thanks for being with us.
And the lead-in's been great. We really do. We appreciate it.
Oh, listen, I appreciate it. It's great to be on. And listen, hopefully some of your guys will become my callers, and my callers will become your callers, and we'll cross over and have a wonderful day, guys. Thank you.
You just got to be careful crossing streams always.
That's true. That is correct. Yeah, 'cause bad things happen.
Yes. All right, thanks, Ben. That's Ben Maller right there, Fox Sports Radio. He is fantastic. You follow him on X at Ben Maller. I love his show.
He's the type of personality that fits with us, so it's perfect lead-in for our show. Would you rather have a militia or a squad? Militia's pretty strong.
And militia's cool. I'd rather have a squad because it's what I got, and I love our squad.
I love our squad. The thing I like about a militia, it sounds like a ragtag, like it's just kind of put together, and that's like that's kind of the show.
I thought you were just going to say it sounds like they have weapons.
Yeah, that too. The squad's got weapons.
You think so?
We're verbal assassins.
That's right. I was trying to think of something that's. I'm old, and we're late, and
beer.
We've got more stuff.
Yeah.
What, beer?
Yeah.
All right.
Beer?
I don't, but I mean, we have a beer named it, so.
Oh, yeah.
We have
We
beer.
do have a beer. Ha!
Show is live on 95.3 WDAE and AM 620.
All right, if you're driving in your car in Tampa, I need you to confirm for me
This is stupid.
if
Pat.
there's
this
any,
is stupid.
if it's actually
Don't say this out of your mouth.
snowing.
That you think it's snowing in Tampa?
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't feel cold enough.
Look at the weather right now.
Yeah. Somebody posted on Instagram about snow in Tampa.
That's
I don't know if that
silly.
was late yesterday or if listen, you never know if it got cold enough for a couple minutes. There was a flurry or two.
How cold do you think it needs to be to snow?
It's supposed to be 32 degrees.
Yeah. Is it 32 degrees right now?
Yesterday at some point, maybe.
No.
I don't think it
No.
was, though.
And listen, with the rain, like you would like, cold rain is the worst. I'd rather have snow. Cold rain and snow.
I'm afraid. All right. I see the 7 inches or whatever the hell in Pensacola that they got somehow. And I'm like, are we going to get even a flurry? People want it.
I would
by the way.
rather.
I don't want it.
I would, if it's going to be cold and wet, I'd rather it just snow and not be wet. I'd rather get the phenomenon.
Telling you, death everywhere.
What do you like, dude?
People are going to crash.
It wouldn't be. You're right. Yeah, honestly,
immediately. They're going to be like, oh my God, look at the snow crashing into each other.
You got to be ready for anything that happens. All the
275,
elements.
which is always the worst, and I will avoid at all costs if I can.
Panama City's getting snow.
What the hell's going on?
Panama Snitty.
Snitty. Yeah. Kind of sounds cool in a way. Snitty.
Somebody tweeted out.
Hang out in the snitty.
Somebody tweeted out, make Florida warm again.
Ben Mallett was saying, hopefully we have some crossover listeners. Apparently we got at least one. Alf the Opiner said, who are you calling weirdos?
Yes, all of us. Listen, this is what happens. You change the Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America, and we get the cold weather.
That's what it is?
I don't
It's
know.
Gulf of America?
I think it's Gulf of America now.
No, I know, but I'm saying you're thinking that's what is led to this disgustingness?
Never know.
Oh,
Why isn't
man.
it Gulf of Florida?
So,
I mean, I know there's a lot of states but we're
yeah, like it's
our Gulf.
it stretches.
I think if you total out the mileage of the coastline that it runs along, I think Mexico has the most coastline.
Yeah.
So that's why.
Nah,
Yeah.
it's ours now.
I didn't listen.
Ours.
I don't really care what they call it as long as people that shouldn't be here are staying on the other side of it. That's all I'm going to say.
Whoa! I was
What?
just talking about owning the Gulf.
Yeah, well, how about owning our country?
Oh man! Morning, everyone.
Get the hell out. All right, so very interesting story. I don't know, kind of funny story more. Well, you like that?
Very interesting story. I mean, kind of. Wow.
Well, I don't know. Listen, it's funny to me, maybe more than it's interesting.
Malice
right?
Militia's like, what show is this?
Yeah, right. Listen, here's what I'll say. You know me, and you fall into this category as well. We're not baseball card guys. We're not sports card guys. We don't collect them. We don't go online and watch people break packs open and get psyched about it. Like, it's just not really our thing.
I've been more intrigued over the last 2 years, honestly, when Seth Kushner was working with us and Seth was really into it. I found myself going, okay, but more not so for the cards. I used to be a card collector, used to love it as a kid, the value. Like to see that people could get what do they call it? Like I forget what they call it. When there's so much terminology that comes with picking cards from boxes.
Well, did you? I don't know. Yeah, I don't. The pull?
A pull. I got a pull, which sounds so cool. I
You
want
did
a pull.
it? Do
No,
you?
I didn't do it, but I want to be the guy to get a pull.
Why?
Sounds cool.
To me, it does not. What's cool is what happened with one card in particular. So apparently, and I didn't know about this, Topps had a rookie card of Paul Skeens with his debut patch, and it's autographed, and it is, you see a lot of cards, certain ones, they're valuable because they're 1 of 100 or 1 of 500. This card, 1 of 1.
That doesn't happen.
Did you see the list? First of all, and when it's 1 of 1, all kinds of these card lunatics went out and spent so much money trying to find it, and it's annoying to me, like these guys that are just going to go crazy looking for this thing. So to me, it's kind of funny.
That's why I love who found it.
Exactly, right? It's funny that an 11-year-old found it, and that's what happened. An 11-year-old found this 1 of 1 card, and
Do you think the 11-year-old Pat got it in one of those, like he was looking for a pull, or do you think it was remember when you were a kid and your parents just like
we're all looking for a pull.
and your parents just like went to the store, like they went to Walmart, they saw some packs of cards in there, so they bought the cards for you. Do you think it was one of those and he just got super lucky, or do you think it was from one of these pulls?
Yeah, I don't. I imagine.
Like 11-year-olds into that type of stuff.
I don't know. Probably if they're into baseball cards.
It calls him a collector, an 11-year-old collector.
Yeah.
But when I was 11, I had a bunch of books of cards. I would say I was a collector.
So the Pittsburgh Pirates, they want this card and they want to display it for their fans in Pittsburgh. Have you seen what they offered this young man for his one-of-one Paul Skeens baseball card?
It's an insane offer. I've seen an offer from them, and I've seen an offer from Skeens' girlfriend, the gymnast from LSU and influencer Livy Dunn.
But that's not an offer.
She
doesn't want the card.
She's not giving, for the card. She's just saying whoever has it. We'll get to that in a minute. But the offer you're about to say from the Pirates is an insane offer.
Yeah. I mean, crazy.
They want that card.
A one-of-one, like this card's clearly super valuable. Imagine this kid, like something happens and he's just... it's not going to happen. He's special. But imagine he just falls off and the Pittsburgh Pirates give up all this for that card if the kid takes it.
And you're about to tell what the Pirates are offering for this card, but when you're about to tell this and reveal this, it makes you realize the Pirates really want this card. And my question is, like, why? I know you said they want to display it, but is it that? Tell the offer, because it's insane.
It is crazy. And also, by the way, I think it's cool that they're not lowballing this kid. Here's what the Pirates are offering this 11-year-old kid for the one-of-one Paul Skeens debut patch autograph card. 2 Pirates season tickets behind home plate. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Oh, by the way, for the next 30 years. 30 years.
Now, if you
that alone, the value of that behind home plate is got to be astronomical.
And if you're 50 years old, you're going, well, 30 years, I don't know.
Yeah, right.
You're 11. You're going to be in your early 40s. You're going to just be turning 40 when this thing runs out. It's a smart move by the Pirates because he can bring a family, whatever, and then bring friends. And this kid's going to be, a Pirate fan for life.
He's going to turn into a celebrity fan because of this.
Yeah.
If he's behind home plate for 30 years, everyone's going to recognize him. But 2 Pirate season tickets behind home plate for the next 30 years, a meet and greet with Paul Skeens, 2 Paul Skeens autographed jerseys. To me, the 2 jerseys are cooler than the 1 patch.
No. It's about value.
I know it's a one-of-one. I don't care.
It's about value. It's not about the signature.
But you're getting the value with the season tickets alone, dude.
Livy Dunn said she's offering the card owner opportunity to take in a game with her at the luxury suite for one of his starts.
Yeah.
That's good, too.
At 11 years old, it'll change his life. 2 Paul Skeens autographed jerseys, a softball game for 30 at PNC Park, so he gets to take 29. What? That's not cool?
Dude, do you know how much? Think about the value of this card.
But, dude, the 30 years of season tickets.
Everything else is like, okay.
But it's still cool. You're an 11-year-old kid. You get to bring 29 of your friends to go play baseball or softball at PNC Park.
If I'm this kid's parents,
awesome.
if I'm this kid's parents, I'm trying to have an adult conversation with a kid, an 11-year-old, and saying, you need to weigh what's going to be fun and what could change your life as far as financially.
This could change his life as far as financially. If you're broke, you sell those season tickets behind home plate.
Are you
every
allowed
year.
to sell them?
They're yours.
I guess.
they're yours.
I don't know what the rules come with that, but you have to think this could fetch a lot of money on the market if you're offering 30 years of 2 seats behind home plate.
Yeah, this stuff could fetch a lot of money as well. All right, when we return, we've got a lot we've got to get to. We're going to tell you why it could be a rough day for Buccaneer fans. It's coming up next. Pat and Aaron Show 95.3.
Welcome back to the Pat and Aaron Show. Could be a very long day for you Buccaneers fans. We'll tell you why in just a second. But if you're just waking up, Tampa Bay Lightning couldn't get it done last night. Disappointing loss. Their back-to-back losses in consecutive nights. One to Toronto, this time to Montreal. The Canadiens last night at the Bell Center, 3-2. So 0 for 2 in the first back-to-back of its 4-game road trip. And yeah, they've lost both games to the Canadiens this season. So disappointing game for them after we saw Nikita Kucherov opening up the scoring with a goal to extend his point streak to 10 games. Vazzy faced 22 shots on goal. He stopped 19 in the loss. So they'll have to be better. They'll have to get over the hump at Chicago in a couple days, 2 days away from that at 8 o'clock puck drop. So once again, if you're just waking up, the Lightning losing 3-2. Could the Bucs be losing their offensive coordinator today? Well, Liam Cohen is getting another interview with the Jacksonville Jaguars to be their head coach.
Maybe he'll bomb it.
I don't think so, because everything we heard from the virtual meeting that has already taken place, he nailed it. And for some, and Rick Stroud's been all over it, Tampa Bay Times, there's a growing concern that, at least here in Tampa Bay, that it is his job to lose. And for a guy who goes into this with it looks like two other candidates that he's competing with, Patrick Graham, Raiders defensive coordinator, Robert Saleh, former Jets head coach, but before that, defensive coordinator.
See, they want a defensive guy.
Or they want Liam Cohen. And if you're looking at Jacksonville and you're being honest with your assessment with what the state of the Jaguars is right now, it's a quarterback who has all the ability but hasn't been able to harness that ability and show it on the field in a competitive way in the NFL.
What is their offensive identity in Jacksonville?
Can't
the
tell
last
you.
handful of years.
Can't tell you.
Because they don't have one, right? They've been just kind of there, right? And there was a couple of years ago where they got off to a really good start, and Trevor Lawrence was playing some good football, and then he suffered those injuries and really struggled towards the end of the season, and really has never looked like the same quarterback since.
So you look at the Jags roster, and you look at some of the weapons they have, and when you're Liam Cohen, if you're an offensive coordinator, it starts with a quarterback. Of course, offensive line, it always starts up front, but you'd ideally like to go into that situation as an offensive-minded head coach with a top-tier quarterback or potential to be a top-tier quarterback. I think you could say that for Trevor Lawrence as far as potential, and a top playmaker. And what Brian Thomas Jr. was able to do this year
was special.
Very special. He is a top playmaker. So that, when we're looking at things that would be attractive to Liam Cohen, that right there on its own is attractive for a guy who would be taking on a head coaching role.
I think he could really get the most out of a guy like Travis Etienne, too. When you think about his play calling and the way that he is able to utilize the players that he has and put them in the best positions to make plays. He certainly did that with this offense this season. When you think about even the year that a guy like Sterling Shepard had, he had some drops, but that's on Sterling Shepard. How many times did Liam Cohen get that guy wide open, right? And when you look at a guy like Travis Etienne coming out of the backfield for the Jacksonville Jaguars, I really think that Cohen could do just wonders for his career moving forward.
So the Buccaneers preparing to have the Jags offer Liam Cohen the job. I wonder what the chances are. Now, I don't know Liam Cohen. I don't know what's going on in his head right now. What are the chances he goes in, he nails that interview, they offer him the job, and he says, nah.
I don't think it. For me, if he's offered the job, he takes the job.
You don't do another interview if you're not going to take the job.
Bingo. Why would you? You know enough. You've been around the NFL for a while. You've been around football for a while. We all know the issues, and I've been going probably over the top about how bad Trent Baalke is because I want Liam to, or somebody close to Liam to hear it and tell him, right? I want that to be part of his consideration is you've got a GM that has failed and failed and failed, not just in Jacksonville, but in San Francisco before Jacksonville. Do you think they regret picking him over Jim Harbaugh in San Francisco all those years ago? Like, this is a guy who's been an atrocious general manager for the entirety of his career, and he's been doing it somehow for so long, and they don't seem to want to get rid of him in Jacksonville. I can't figure out why, but it wouldn't excite me. That said, I know that going in before the first interview. The first interview is one thing. You can make the argument, right? We've talked about how repetitions are good in anything, including interviewing, and you can make the argument that, hey, You take the interview because you just want the reps. And if they offer you the job, you're going to respectfully decline. Or if they offer you a second interview, you're going to respectfully decline. But I don't think you go into a second interview without knowing that you're going to take that job if they offer to.
The only thing I could think that would be different is one was a virtual meeting, and maybe he wants the experience for the in-person meeting as well.
You think there's some stank in the room?
What do you mean?
I don't know, just something that makes you feel uncomfortable about what's going on. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you could meet with somebody virtually and then meet them in person and just have a feeling like something rubs me the wrong way about this person. Hard to do that digitally, in my opinion.
I know there are Bucks fans, and we'll take your text 82945. Start your text with DAE. I bet they're waking up hearing this report. They're panicking, and their first thought is move on from Todd Bowles, elevate him to front office, whatever you want to do, but we cannot lose Liam Cohen. There are guys and they're Bucks fans that feel that way today. And I think their biggest concern would be if Liam Cohen goes to Jacksonville, becomes the next Sean McVay, becomes a premier coach in this league, and the Bucks offense sputters and Todd Bowles peters out and is gone.
Yeah, to me, I think it's unlikely, to be honest with you. Like, could Todd Bowles still lose his job? Could things not go well? Absolutely, obviously. To me, if you're a good play caller, and they should be able to, again, this is Detroit, you can argue, could be more attractive, but this is a very attractive offensive coordinator job. They're going to get a good coach, and the players, that offensive line is not going anywhere. And if you do a good job, this offense has too many pieces to just all of a sudden revert back to being bad.
The question is, was it more of the pieces for the Buccaneers and Baker Mayfield, or was it more of Liam Cohen?
It's the players, not the plays. Our friend Lee, who's a big Jags fan, Aaron, he texted me and said, Khan has no idea what he's doing, and Balky has his ear. He's in over his head. So maybe, listen, Trent Balky, Aaron, here's our hope. Trent Balky. He's made a lot of bad decisions.
Balky's this up?
He's made a lot of bad decisions. All we need is for him to make one more. Just make one more, dude. One more bad decision.
Yeah.
Robert Saleh is your guy, Trent Balky. Dude, if there's anybody that's going to hire Robert Saleh as their next head coach this offseason, it's Trent Balky. That's our hope, man.
I just don't see it.
It's, you know what this feels like? This feels like last season when we were talking about Rays baseball, and our hope wasn't that they'd be good enough. It was that somebody else would start to suck bad enough. And this is we can't hope that Liam Cohen isn't going to leave. We have to hope that the Jaguars F it up bad enough.
We didn't do this with Dave Canales.
Yeah.
I didn't feel this way when David Tepper was coming to poach. Dave Canales was like, well, that sucks that Baker's got to get a new offensive coordinator. But I didn't look at the offense as explosive enough to say we cannot lose Dave Canales. It is so different this year with Liam Cohen. This offense was explosive, and I expect it to continue to be explosive. I'd love for Dave Canales to be there. Speaking of explosive...
Liam Cohen.
Or sorry, Liam Cohen. I said Dave Canales. Speaking of explosive... The Dodgers, they are explosive. I
thought you were going a different direction with that.
They get so ridiculous with their player acquisitions. It's been insane. Is it at the point where they actually could be forced by Major League Baseball, to change the way things are done? We'll have that discussion on the other side, and that could definitely help the Rays out. But first, Goon Squad, listen up. We've got something really cool for you. This is new. We got a new platform we just found out about actually last week, and we've been checking it out. It's awesome, and we've talked about it last week. I believe on Friday is when we first heard about it, and we were checking it out. We wanted you to know about it as well, because now we're on board. Pat and I are on board. Largest payouts on parlays. It's called Wanna Parlay, WANNA. And Pat and I downloaded the Wanna Parlay app on our phone, and it is a lot of fun. And here's what you get to do. You get to compete against us.
I'm taking some money from you, Aaron. I'm just letting you know.
No, I'm taking money from you and all the other goons, because you can compete against us and all the other goons to see who can build the best parlay. Also, Pat was just talking some trash to me. There's a chat feature, so let the trash talk, all the bragging, let it all begin on the chat feature. We can have some fun with it. Pat and I are going to be on there. We'll find each other on there, and we'll all be able to talk a little trash on that chat. And also, there's a leaderboard that you can check to see all the people you're competing against and where you're stacking up against them, and that way you can see and everyone can see who's in for the win. It's just $2 for a shot at taking home a huge cash prize. Just $2. It's a lot of fun and really easy to use. There's new football, basketball, hockey contests every single week. And once again, the best part, it's only $2 to enter the contest.
That's right. Plus, there are always free-to-play games, too. It makes watching all the sports that much more fun. So here's what you got to do. Go download the Wanna Parlay app, click around. If you decide to upload money and get in the action, use the promo code GOONS for a 100% deposit match for up to $250. So if you put in $20, they're going to give you 20 more. How about that? So download the Wanna Parlay app and use the promo code GOONS. Here's the important part, right? If you just go in, like you can get the money match either way. You want to use the code GOONS because the best part is not only are they going to match the money. I was talking to the guys yesterday. From time to time, don't be surprised if they throw a little extra money in your account. Also, there are going to be exclusive contests with exclusive prizing just for our listeners on the app. So go download it today.
Yeah, the Wanna Parlay app, WANNA Parlay app. Must be 18 or older to play. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER today. On the other side, could once again, baseball, Major League Baseball, could they put a stop to the
.com/rules. Now, back to the Pat and Aaron Show on 95.3 WDAE and AM 620.
It's not just the Rays that have a problem on their hands. Major League Baseball has a massive problem on their hands right now. And Pat, it might be time for Major League Baseball to step in here. And I know it would be very contentious with the players union, and there are a lot of things that go into these type of conversations of how you can change what I'm about to suggest here, but you have to make something happen here in Major League Baseball, or else
It's not going to.
the sport that everyone is trying to, and Major League Baseball is trying to get the popularity up. They've done a lot of things as far as the excitement of the game, changing the adding the pitch clock, making the game shorter. They've changed things so much to try to get the excitement of the game up and the energy around the game up. Well, you got a bigger problem on your hands.
Nothing would work better than parity. Nothing would work better than parity. And there's so many NFL teams that even when they're bad, they're like, next year we got a shot, right? Like, imagine having baseball fans feel that way. Most markets, they don't.
They're moving in the opposite direction of that, though, because just days after reaching an agreement on a 4-year, $72 million contract with free agent reliever Tanner Scott, the Dodgers, looks like they're adding another top free agent. The reports we saw late yesterday, they are adding veteran reliever, 2-time All-Star Kirby Yates. So not only do they have an extremely potent offense, they are now adding to the bullpen of an already good starting pitching staff where they're going to get guys back from injury.
It's gross.
Really gross.
It's going to get to the point where the Dodgers have 3 closers at the back of their bullpen. Right? Starters go 5, 6. Then they got 3 closers at the back of their bullpen. I know there's just 2 that they just signed, but like it's gonna get to that point. Watch next season; they'll sign more.
Glass now will come into the season healthy. Shohei Ohtani is going to look to pitch.
Yeah.
You added Blake Snell.
By the way, they've given themselves so much insurance if he can't.
Yeah, you got Blake Snell, you got Roki Sasaki, you got who everyone wanted Roki, and everyone, it looked like a lot of teams were in on it, but the Dodgers, of course, prevailed. You re-signed Teoscar Hernandez, who's a huge part of it. Tommy Edman as well, who was tremendous for them in the playoffs last year. I don't know if I mentioned Michael Conforto.
You did not.
You add Michael Conforto to that, who... Listen, Michael Conforto's not the guy that when he started with the Mets he was expected to be, but that's a very productive guy who can hit you some bombs as well.
And by the way, he doesn't have to be in L.A. That's the thing. All these guys they sign, they don't even have to be great. You can just be good because the whole roster is so stupid thick now.
Yeah, and it is. It's at some point. I don't know if they will.
They won't.
But I believe Major League Baseball has to step in and do something about this because the parity you talk about, it's moving completely in the opposite direction.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. And I've been saying this as long as we've been on the air together, right? Listen, has it gotten worse? At this moment, the Dodgers look ridiculous in a way that I don't remember many rosters looking in my lifetime, right? And you're right. I think it's going in the opposite direction from parity. We're getting to the point where a handful of teams are going to have the means to really compete in this league unless somebody does something and finds ways to change the way they pay people. Like, oh, by the way, the Dodgers have, right? As far as pushing money back and all this. Maybe that's what needs to change. I don't know. I think if not a salary cap, because I don't think a salary cap will ever happen in Major League Baseball. I just don't. I wish it would do so much for the sport. But why not a floor? Why not just a floor? Why not say, you know what, you've got to... By the way, the NFL has a floor, right? Why not just say, hey, we're going to still let the Dodgers spend like a-holes. We're going to let the Yankees and the Mets spend like a-holes. But you at least have to spend $125 million.
Doesn't change anything.
Whatever it does.
Doesn't change a thing. Because...
I think you're wrong.
No. Here's why. So the Rays, the A's, organizations that need to spend. We saw the A's starting to spend last year because you have to. You need to spend to show Rob Manfred, especially teams like the A's where they're fighting for a home.
They literally made them spend more money.
Had to spend more money. They had to. That was Rob Manfred. That was forced on them.
Yeah.
So that helps for those small franchises, for the Rays, for them to have a floor. Okay, great. You're spending more money, but you're never, ever getting the potent lineup and rotation. Well, rotation you build yourself if you're the Rays, but you're never getting in out of free agency. You're the ones that's trading Tyler Glass now, not acquiring Tyler Glass now. And as long as this is going on and the Dodgers are winning and you've got an international superstar like Shohei there and you got guys like Roki who are going, well, Shohei's there. I want to go there. Then you have all the money in the world. You've got all the offense that you need.
That's not changing, though.
It's
a salary floor absolutely would. Aaron,
it doesn't change the teams, the middle of the road teams that do look to spend money. They do spend money. They go get free agents, not like the Rays and the A's, but there were teams that put out for Roki and probably put out just as good, if not better, offers. But
yeah, you're not going to listen. The Japanese players are going out west, and usually to the Dodgers. Like unless they implement some kind of a draft, you're never going to change that.
Might have to do that.
There's a lot of things you're never going to change. But if you want change, which you just said, you have to look for realistic change. And what realistic change will never be is a salary cap. What realistic change could be is a salary floor. And I think to say the Rays, who have never come close to spending $100 million, maybe kind of close, but not really. If you were to say there was a $125 million salary floor, they've been to 2 World Series. For a long time, they were the most successful team in the division when it came to year in and year out being competitive. When we saw the Yankees spend a lot of money and have years where they sucked, the Red Sox spent a lot of money and have years when they sucked. If the Rays spent a little more money, if they got to that 125 threshold, to say that those World Series teams that got there with a little more help maybe couldn't have possibly won one of those World Series, I think is crazy. Of course they could.
It's a really good point you make. And the one person I think of, and a guy who helped them get to the point where they almost got over the hump, if it takes you a floor to be able to bring in a guy like a Charlie Morton and want to spend money on a guy like Charlie Morton, or even better than that,
or keep him,
or keep him, it's a game changer. Players like that, look, he has success and the teams have success wherever Charlie Morton goes. So I think you do make a good point there. And that's why you look at teams, even in the similar situation as far as the money they spend, completely different. A's and Rays, completely different organizations. The A's don't spend money and they don't win. The Rays don't spend money and they somehow are competing and winning every year. Now, not winning at all, but to your point, if you had a little bit extra, if you had just 1 or 2 players, and really, it's a bat. If you had a bat or 2 to this team, you're a contender. They
Think about
don't
this
have
roster.
the bats.
You may not trade Randy Arozarena if you've got to hit a salary floor. You may not do some things that you do when it comes to shedding salary just to shed salary if you've got to keep the salary up. So there's an argument to be made that some of the guys that we've watched walk out the door that we wish were still here might still be here if there were a salary floor.
There's no other league where the competitive balance is as far off as Major League Baseball.
It's not even close.
Not even close. Say what you want. Say what you want about the NBA, and a lot of people hate it. Who was talking about the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Oklahoma City Thunder a couple years ago?
Yep.
Nobody, right? Nobody. Now,
and they're both great.
Last year they just, and I wouldn't say this year they took a step back.
They're really good, though.
Yeah, Minnesota's taken a step back. But regardless, and OKC is great.
Yeah.
Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, unbelievable. So those teams just come out onto the scene. They burst onto the scene. The competitive balance is there, and it makes it much more entertaining, much more fun to watch.
It is a little easier when you have a roster where it's 12, 13 guys.
For sure.
And if you have the draft and you're going to get a guy that changes your team completely. Whereas in Major League Baseball, A, guys that you draft usually you're not even going to see for years. But B, that even on a roster as big as the rosters are, that guy's not going to have the impact that a guy in the Wembanyama, for instance, right, changes that franchise overnight. You really don't see that in Major League Baseball.
One player can change it. Even on a guy who was considered a superstar at the time, Jalen Brunson changed the Knicks organization. You're absolutely right. 5 guys on the floor. Of course, you got your bench, but with baseball, though, it's 9 guys on the field. Field the best 9 guys, but with the competitive balance off, it's not happening.
No doubt.
We know where the competitive balance comes when it comes to car driving and car buying.
There is no competitive balance.
No, there's
because,
none. They've taken over.
Yeah, there's only one choice, and the choice is clear. It is Mazda of Clearwater, without question. If you're looking for a new or even pre-owned vehicle, the choice, it is very clear. I've been telling you for a while about the car buying experience. You should go see for yourself. I always say you can check them all online at MazdaofClearwater.com. I really suggest checking them out online at Google. Google their ratings. Look at what people who've bought cars there have said. It's not just me. It's not just Aaron. Everybody who buys cars at Mazda of Clearwater is blown away. By the way, we'll be there in a week.
Yeah, I'm psyched.
A week from today, hanging out 6 to 9. We'll find out from Doug Waechter if he's going to come hang out for a Waechter Wednesday at Mazda of Clearwater. But a great time to be had next week, but really a great time anytime if you're looking for a new or pre-owned vehicle.
On 95.3 WDAE and AM 620.
Could we see two of the best matchups of the playoffs on Sunday? Might be the case because you look at the matchup between Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. It's the matchup, I think, aside from what we got last week with Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, it's the perfect matchup for a conference championship game. And then you look at the NFC,
And we talk about parity. We were just talking about parity, right? And how other leagues are very different from Major League Baseball as some teams that can surprise you. And Washington is that team this year. Number 2 overall pick last year. A new head coach.
What a turnaround.
Insane. One of the greatest turnarounds I've ever witnessed. New head coach, rookie quarterback, and they found themselves in the conference championship game in Philadelphia going up against the Eagles, who turned everything around with one acquisition in the offseason, and his name is Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, and listen, Saquon, I knew this guy was special. I knew he'd be great behind an offensive line like that, and I'm not really surprised by what Philadelphia is doing. I think Howie Roseman's done a great job with that roster for years. I sometimes question the quarterback. I sometimes question the head coach, although he's got more wins in recent years than just about anybody. It's a good football team, and they do a lot of things well. And when you have an offensive line, it's like what I've been saying about this Buccaneer team. When you have an offensive line that can push people around, you're usually going to do some pretty good things offensively. I'm a little bit surprised by the spread in the AFC Championship game. We talked yesterday. You asked our friend Charlie who he was taking, and he said Kansas City -1. It's now up to -2 for the Kansas City Chiefs. For as, I don't want to say poorly as they played all season, because they haven't. They lost 2 games all year long. They have not been dominant. They won the game by 9 points over the Houston Texans last week. Are you surprised that Kansas City's favorite, even though they're at home?
No, because who are you betting on?
Kansas City.
There you go.
It's what they do.
So,
but you also said you're putting lots of money on Buffalo.
I haven't yet. The line.
Are you getting nervous now?
No, it's actually, I'm kind of waiting. Look at what's happening. If I would have taken this yesterday, I wouldn't have got the value that I'm getting it at right now. I think a lot of people are doing what you're doing, Pat.
You taking the points or you're going money line?
I think I'm going to do a little bit of both. I think I'm actually going to buy the points to 3.5, and I'll take the money line as well. I'm going to wait a little longer to see what happens here in the shift.
3.5 even.
Yeah, I'll buy probably 1.5 because we know that number, that 3. I could so see this being a 3-4 point game. A lot of people are thinking like you. The Chiefs are the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes. I don't care what they did during the regular season. By the way, 15-2 in the regular season. But
one of those 2 was Buffalo.
Yep. And a lot of people look at it and say, until you beat the beast, I got to bet on the beast. And that's what people are doing. They're betting on Kansas City right now. And because of them betting on Kansas City, that line is shifting in favor of Kansas City more so than it was when it opened.
Yeah, I think both games are going to be very good. I think the familiarity that they have, obviously Buffalo and Kansas City not in the same division, but they did play already this season. And as we've talked about, with Kansas City being that team that Buffalo is going to have to overcome, like we've said yesterday about, so many teams in the past have always had the dragon they had to slay to get to where they wanted to go. That is without question Kansas City for the Buffalo Bills. So they know they know each other really well, almost as well as you would if you were in the same division, which, of course, Washington and Philadelphia. God, it makes me so ill to see 2 NFC East teams in the NFC Championship game. But the familiarity there, the way those 2 games went, I think it's going to be a very interesting football game.
I think that because of Washington's run defense against Saquon Barkley, Philly has the advantage, but 6.5, 7 point advantage, which is where the line is at right now.
That's 6 on the Hard Rock app.
Okay, I'm looking at ESPN Bet, and it's 6.5.
Yeah, I pulled open just to check on Hard Rock.
Yeah, and listen, that you could buy that to 7.5, and there's no reason why Washington shouldn't be able, the way they're playing and the way Jaden Daniels controls that offense and uses his feet, utilizes his feet, something different than Philly. Philly's seen it, but listen, in that game, that last game of the season, Jaden didn't play the entire game. So yeah, it's a third time around for both these teams. Jaden has evolved as a quarterback throughout the year. So I think they can hang in this game without a doubt. I think both of these games could and should be competitive.
Yeah, and they were ahead in that game. The Philadelphia Eagles were that Washington came back to win late in the season. So it's not like, they blew the Eagles out. Even without Hurts being out there, they didn't blow the Eagles out. But what I will say is Kenny Pickett and Jalen Hurts, neither one of those guys is playing defensive back. And Jaden Daniels in that football game had 5 touchdown passes. He did have an interception, but he had 5 touchdown passes in that game. Really was fantastic. So he just gets more and more comfortable, more and more confident, if it's even possible, because they noted it during the game. I think it was last week after he went down the field and scored a touchdown. They showed him on the bench, and he like the guy looked like he was on the bench in a park getting ready to have a picnic, like just chilling, man. And I don't remember seeing too many rookie quarterbacks look as smooth, as comfortable, as confident in Jaden Daniels. He did have 2 picks in that game, by the way, but I expect him to be really good again on Sunday in a moment where I think a lot of guys, it would be too big for them.
And he always bounces back when he makes a mistake. The rare mistake, but when he does bounce back. And for a quarterback, for anybody, you have to have that ability to do that. But, we were just talking about baseball. The draft is not that important in baseball. If you really look at it in its entirety, It's not that important. The Rays are trading for guys that have been drafted by other teams. Teams do that all the time. The NBA draft, very important. NFL draft is the most important as far as what you can do to change your team right now.
I think NBA is right there, honestly, because of what we talked about earlier with only being 5 guys and the impact that one guy can have. I think it's equally important in the NBA. I just don't think it's as deep. You're not, because there's only 2 rounds. There's not like, I'm getting a guy in the 3rd and 4th round that's going to change my franchise, which, by the way, the last 2 years, I don't know about change your franchise, but you look at Tyke Smith, Jalen McMillan, Yaya Diaby the last 2 years in the 3rd round. So, I think it's very important.
The quarterback is the one that you look at that can really change your franchise, drafting one. You can go out and get a running back as a free agent, like they did with Saquon, who's already established, and change your organization. Or you can be a team like Philly that came in the last couple of years strong and drafted pretty well as on top of that.
Yeah.
And you got to get a little lucky. Jalen Carter falling to them is
so good.
It didn't propel them and go, that's the game changer that made them a great organization. But you add it to the pieces that are already there. You added Jalen Carter, and then after that, to make it just a tremendous athlete on defense, and then the tremendous athlete that Saquon Barkley is on offense. You've got a real Super Bowl contender here. Jalen Hurts seems like the only thing standing in their way from
and
really
sometimes
getting it done.
Sirianni.
Yeah, and their head coach.
Think about, this game is so interesting because you've got like a lot of, I don't know if first is necessarily accurate, but like a lot of uniqueness when it comes to how often is there a team as good as Philadelphia where you've got as many questions about the quarterback and the head coach, right? And then on the flip side, when we were talking about Jaden Daniels, sometimes I feel like I'm going too far with the way I gush about this kid, but at the same time, no, I feel like I'm not. I think you can make the argument. Now, we'll see what happens moving forward. What Peyton did for Indianapolis, there's a lot of arguments that he built that building they're in today, right? For the rookie season alone, I think you can argue that Jaden Daniels changed the franchise as much as any player in the history of the NFL. When you think about where the Washington Commanders were a short period of time ago, where it was a disgusting organization ran by a disgusting human being, and nobody wanted to be a part of the Washington football team. I don't care what the hell name they were using. Nobody wanted to be a part of that football team. And now, who wouldn't?
Yeah.
In 1 year, Jaden Daniels did that.
People thought that was going to be RG3, but because of injuries, and even without the injuries, I don't know if RG3 becomes that guy.
Well, he was a schmuck, and his teammates didn't like him, so that didn't help.
There's a lot of Jadens and Jalens in the NFL these days. You notice that?
Popular names.
Those are very popular names in the NFL.
You want some more Pauls and Ricks?
Yeah,
There's a lot of mix, too, like McDaniels, McVay, McDonald.
I thought you were saying like Mick, like your dad, like Mick Jaggers. I can't think of any. I can't think of any actual mix.
I thought it was a slur.
Well, that's rude.
That's what I thought.
Jeez.
Yeah.
As a half Irish guy, I am offended.
Yeah, I thought you would be. Listen, everyone's going to be offended on the other side. It's time to get our degenerate on. It's over under next. But first, I want to tell you about my friends at Trajan Wealth and how they can help you out here. When you're thinking about your retirement, what are you seeing? Well, listen, I know for everyone it's going to be different, but could be a little blurry. You really can't see what's ahead for you. That's where Trajan Wealth is going to come out here and help you, because everyone has different goals, and different goals require a unique plan for everyone and a plan for the future. Trajan Wealth will help you today, and they're going to help you reach those investment goals. I'm talking about retirement planning and wealth management, and what they do at Trajan Wealth is they tailor the goals to your specific needs, and they've got offices conveniently located in Tampa. So reach out to them today at Trajan Wealth, face-to-face appointment or a virtual appointment. appointment if that's more comfortable for you. It starts with that initial consultation that is free. 813-550-1000. That's 813-550-1000 or online at TrajanWealth.com, as they're going to help you develop a plan at Trajan Wealth that gives you peace of mind. These are the type of people you would love to work with, and they would love to talk with you about your financial goals today. TrajanWealth.com, advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth.
Over.
See, I told you it was over.
Are you ready?
Time for a little over-under on the Pat and Aaron show.
You going to be able to concentrate?
We got our buddy David Hersey's in studio right now. We've got ribs. We've got, I believe, jalapeno poppers, shrimp, all the good stuff.
Jalapeno poppers with shrimp inside.
With shrimp inside. We'll talk. David's in studio. He's an OG goon. He's been with us for a long time. We'll find out when Doug gets in what he's got cooking and what he cooked up for us. Cooked it up himself, I believe. Just came in to hang out.
All night he's been cooking for us.
Our guy. All right. We'll talk to David in just a few minutes here. But first, over-under time. Casey Warner.
All right, let's go. The question is which of these, if any at all, could make it to the Pick'em on Friday? Because I know we do some different stuff during Conference Championship Week, right?
Yeah. We'll add some categories.
Some categories. All right, well, here's your categories for today.
Might add these just based off your suggestion.
Over, under 181.5. Passing yards for Jalen Hurts in Philadelphia at Washington at 3 p.m. on Sunday. He's thrown for more than 180 yards just once in his last 6 starts.
That's terrible. I'm going to go with under. I think, Aaron, you mentioned it, man. Washington has not been good against the run. Saquon Barkley has been ridiculous. He's on a mission, and I think it's going to be a big Saquon afternoon, and I don't expect it to be a big Jalen Hurts afternoon. And I think the weather could be sloppy again. I'm going to take the under.
Washington, their pass defense good, their run defense not so good. Based on Jalen's results and doing this one time in his last 6 starts.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to bet under on 181. I would stay away from it because it's such a low number.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet it for sure.
All it takes is like a long A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith or something crazy happens. I'm going to go with...
a couple of screens, which they love to use Saquon on.
Definitely, but based on everything we're seeing and the weather, I'm going to go under.
Okay, 2 unders. How's this for an over-under? Over-under 130.5 rushing yards for Saquon Barkley in that same game. That's the Hard Rock line, 130.5. Crazy.
Commanders give up during the regular season over 137 yards on the ground. They gave up over 150 on the ground already in the playoffs. Now you've got Saquon, but
on a mission.
On a mission, but it's not just Saquon. Jalen's going to use his legs as well. I'm going to go over here for Saquon. I took under. It ended up at like 119 for Saquon last week. I ended up betting the under. I'm like, at some point, someone's going to stop the guy they know they have to stop. You can't stop him. You can't stop greatness. I'm going to go over.
I'm going to go over, and I think that I wouldn't be shocked if he's closing in by halftime. I think it's a big weekend for Saquon.
Yeah, when you break off 60-yard runs with ease with your eyes closed, it's not a shock that could happen.
He's got to open those eyes, though. You got to see the hole. You got to see the hole.
Yeah, he would have broke the record if he opened his eyes.
Seriously.
We know Saquon's going to run for quite a bit on Sunday, but is Josh Allen over under 47.5 rushing yards for Josh Allen in Buffalo at Kansas City?
That's a tougher one. I think that this is a football game where Josh Allen is going to have to get rid of the football, and that's not just when it comes to throwing the football. Kansas City. We know what Spags does in the playoffs. We saw it last week. We're going to see it this week. He's going to be bringing pressure, and there are times where you can sneak out and squeeze away from that pressure and make big plays. I think it's a game for everybody else when it comes to moving the football. I'm going to take the under on Josh Allen.
Last time they played each other, and sometimes Josh is just pushing the pile. He's just moving the pile. So he could end up with a lot of carries and not a lot of yards. Last time they played each other, 12 carries, 55 yards. I'm going to go. Sometimes you know what he's going to do and you can't stop him. Josh is one of those guys that can break off a long one as well. And then you add those other carries, it's going to pile up. It's going to be over 47.5. It's going to be over 50. Give me over.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Couple more here. Over under 68.5 receiving yards for Travis Kelce, who went off last week.
But he is really their main weapon.
The other receivers had 60 yards last week.
Yeah, and you know what? What does that tell you if you're a coordinator? Stop Travis Kelce. Do not let Travis Kelce beat you, and I don't think they're going to allow him, Travis Kelce, to beat him this week. I'm going to go under.
Yeah, I'm going to take the under as well. Actually, no, I'm not. He's going to need to make a lot of plays for this football team because it seems like nobody else is. Like we said, the other receivers had 60 yards last week. If Travis Kelce has under 68.5 yards, I think there's a decent chance Kansas City loses this football game. And I don't think there's a decent chance Kansas City loses. I mean, I believe Buffalo can beat them, but I also believe Kansas City's that hard to beat. I'm going to take the over. I think Travis Kelce needs to be big, and whenever he needs to be big, He usually is.
Yeah, he was last week.
By the way, when it comes to Buffalo, real quick, I think James Cook does have a big week because they don't let Josh Allen kill them.
James Cook, anytime touchdown. You heard it from Pat.
There you go.
I don't know about that.
I did.
Yeah, go for it.
All right, one more here real quick. Up and down season for your Tampa Bay Lightning. They currently sit at 25 wins with 36 games to go. Over under 42.5 wins for your Tampa Bay Lightning at the end of the season.
It's a lot of math. So that means they'd have to win 18 of the. So basically go 500 the rest of the way. Yeah, I'm going to take the over. I think they're going to be better than 500 the rest of the way. Again, I'm not sold that they've got a chance to get to the Stanley Cup final from what I've seen to this point in the season, but I do think they'll be better than 500 the rest of the way.
Yeah, they're going to be better than they've been to the start of the season, and they've already been better than 500. Gensel's going to get more comfortable in this, and just this top line is so dangerous. I'm going to go with over.
How much more growth do you think there is at this point in the season?
I mean, every game you're playing, you're getting more chemistry with each other. When you haven't played with each other for years, every single game, you're getting more chemistry.
You're going to get a lot more at the beginning of the year than the end of the year.
By the end of the year, everything's going to come together from what the chemistry you've been building all season long. Every game you play together adds to that chemistry, and whether it's Braden Point playing with Cooch as long as they've been playing together, or a guy like Gensel who just joined the team, every single game is going to help them add to that chemistry.
No, I know, but it's how much more? How much higher is the ceiling?
I don't know the math there.
I don't see a lot more.
It's not an equation.
Well,
it's just a thing.
Yeah,
the thing I feel.
All right.
Over.
I just wish I felt it the same way. I feel I'm over as well, but I don't know, man. I don't feel like Vasilevsky is up and down this year. I don't know. I'm not confident. I wish I was.
One thing
I feel a lot like I did last year. Sorry.
One thing I'm confident in. It's Waechter Wednesday, so Doug Waechter's going to join us. I'm confident David Hersey's got some great ribs that we're going to be eating in just a few minutes, and I'm also confident of where you need to buy the best jewelry around. And around here, there's only one jewelry store that reigns supreme. You know who I'm talking about. International Diamond Center and IDC. It's a Florida-based company with international connections, and these connections, they go back for decades. The owner used to be a huge supplier for diamond and jewelry stores all over the Eastern Seaboard. With IDC, you're getting access to one of the largest selections in the nation of real, rare, and natural precious diamonds certified by the GIA, the world's most trusted gem lab. We're not talking about any middlemen, markups, no broker fees, no pricing games, just straight up value pricing on every diamond, all shapes and sizes.
If you're considering a diamond purchase, you got to talk to the experts at IDC and let them help you avoid pitfalls. They're non-commissioned experts at IDC. They're going to show you how diamonds are priced on the world market and teach you the tricks on how you can max out your budget without compromising. They're going to show you multiple diamonds in your size and price range so that you can choose the one that makes the most sense for you. Listen, buying a diamond is very risky, and these days you want to make sure you're working with people that you can trust. So you want to get educated and make sure that you don't get taken advantage of. You never will at International Diamond Center. They're your first and last stop when it comes to diamonds. IDC's trusted diamond experts are the ones you can believe in and rely on. They're in Tampa, Clearwater, Lakeland, and Sarasota. When we return, it is a Waechter Wednesday. He's a sharp-dressed man today. He must have work after this. We'll get into it with him, and our friend David Hersey's here as well with way too much food. We can't wait to eat it. All right, we're going to get back with sports. We promise we're going to talk about sports, too. I promise you.
The Player of the Night, presented by Rivard Buick GMC.
Big win for the Denver Nuggets at home over the Philadelphia 76ers last night, 144-109, led by the man himself, Nikola Jokic, with his 19th double-double of the season. 27 points, 13 rebounds, 10 assists. Nikola Jokic is your Rivard Buick GMC Player of the Night. Rivard Buick GMC, no games, no gimmicks, no hidden fees. Check out that inventory easily at RivardBuickGMC.com. We are professional grade. I am Casey Warner, and this is 95.3 WDAE and AM 620.
Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today and start packing. With me today is Applied Innovation customer Brian Carter, President and CEO of Wham Print and Mail. What type of equipment does Applied Innovation provide?
Yeah, so we have 3 black and white machines from Applied Innovation, along with a die cutting machine, as well as a couple folding machines, an envelope machine, as well as 2 Ricoh 9210 color machines.
With that much equipment, service is a big issue.
And that's one of the reasons why we chose Applied Innovation, is to make sure that we have somebody that's there to back us up and give us the customer service that we need. And from the owner making himself available to us, to our sales rep, and to the customer service individuals that we deal with.
And you've benefited from the Applied Innovation relationship.
They have enabled us to be able to get into other pieces of equipment that we would have never had, which again, in turn, made us more profitable.
World-class products, world-class service. Make your business more profitable. Call Applied Innovation today, 800-521-0983, or visit appliedinnovation.com.
Experience the Anajar Levine difference. Call 1-800-747-FREE.
Achieve real goals at Epic Health and Fitness. Experience a real gym with top-notch equipment, expert trainers, and a supportive community. See real results with personalized programs tailored to your needs. Our gyms have the best equipment, recovery services, motivational staff, open 24/7, and never overcrowded, no matter what time of year. Join us today and transform your life. Visit epichealthandfitness.com. Epic Health and Fitness. Real goals, real gym, real results.
Pick up your phone and put in GiveMeTheVin.com. Highest money, quickest offer, $2,000 to $200,000. Top car buyer in the United States is GiveMeTheVin.com.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray.
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
From the Rude Air and Water Studios, powered locally by Ferguson HVAC, engineered tough, built.
Hour number 3 of the Pat Aaron Show, 95.3 WDAE and AM 620. You know what that means on a Wednesday morning. It is Waechter Wednesday. Doug Waechter joins us in studio for the hour, as he does every week. And I got to tell you, there is a bigger bleep-eating grin on Doug's face than I have seen in some time.
Yes, dude, you get me in the studio, all I can do is smell ribs right now. This is incredible, man. What time is it? 7:58, 8 o'clock in the morning, something like that?
This is right. That's how we do it in radio.
This is when you should always eat ribs.
And we're not hawking anything. We're not trying to promote anything here, which we love to do on the show. But it's just one of our OG listeners, David Hersey.
Yeah.
Who is just brought in. David, let's have his mic on, Casey. So what, you just been cooking all night for us?
Yeah, I love to cook, so I figured, why not? Let's bring some food to these guys and let them enjoy it. Hopefully they enjoy it as much as everybody else.
Well, it's certainly the pictures you sent me this morning. And, Doug, I showed you pictures last time, but David texted me this morning. So here's what we're walking into. Well, maybe we'll dig in during the commercial break here.
Got 3 hours of sleep, this guy.
I know. This is incredible. I've been talking to him. Oh, my God.
Ribs. Look at those ribs. All right, I'll do it for the live stream. And if you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, all that good stuff. I know we're not on Twitter, whatever the hell. There's the ribs. Oh, my God.
So I got a question for you for the ribs. Are you a 3-2-1 technique guy?
No.
Okay. No. Do you guys know what a 3-2-1 is?
Yeah, me 3-2-1 because I think Ray
I
Lampy,
am, because it's the lazy way to do it.
Who taught Ray Lampy tell you that?
No, Ray Lampy told me you don't
Chef
do
Young's?
Ray Lampy told me you cook to temperature, which I know is what David does.
Really?
It was
Was it Philbin?
Thank you, Jeff Philbin, who gave me the 3-2-1, which, by the way, I love the 3-2-1, but it is the lazy way to do it, isn't it, David?
Yeah, it is. I mean, just going to temperature is the important part.
Well, we're going to need this.
Yeah.
I think Bucks fans are going to need this today. I have a bad feeling
that this is the last day of Liam Cohen with the Buccaneers.
Really? Today?
Yeah. He's got a second interview with the Jags today.
Yeah, I know. I've been following.
And we talk about a second interview. That typically means the team likes what's going on, and if they offer him the job, I don't know.
Well, he's not the only guy getting a second interview.
Yeah,
though.
we've seen Robert Saleh, formerly of the New York Jets. He's getting another interview here or so. But when you look at the landscape of Jacksonville, what do they need right now? Do they need help on defense, or do they need to get their star quarterback on the right track? And it's the latter.
They're bringing in 2 different defensive guys for a second interview and only 1 offensive guy. So maybe you could make and again, I'm trying to talk myself into it because I don't want Liam Cohen to go. But let me ask you this, though, because we were talking about this earlier and we both agree. Do you take a second interview if you don't know you'll take the job?
Yes.
Really?
And keep in mind, the first interview was virtual. It was not in person. It was a virtual meeting.
I think you go through, you get to know exactly what the situation is you're getting into. You want to know that you can partner with the people that you're going to and accepting the job for.
You don't think you'd learn those things in the first interview?
No, not necessarily.
You'd ask the right questions
Not
in the first
necessarily.
interview?
Well, I mean, I just found this out. It's a virtual interview, the first one, but you want to go on the grounds. You want to get face to face with these guys. You want to make sure that, it's the right fit for both, right? The franchise wants to make sure you're the right fit, and you want to make sure you want to go there because, Liam Cohen has a good situation right now, a really good one with the quarterback that he's got, in Baker, and it looks like they're going to get only stronger moving forward. But if I'm Jacksonville, and I hate to say this because I really like the guy, and I hope he stays a Buccaneer, he's outstanding at what he does, and I got to hear him speak. I think it was like 2 months ago.
You mentioned this, yeah.
And he was with his dad, and you could just tell, X's and O's, like all that stuff plays itself out in game. You can see how good he is in game. Away from it, you can tell the passion of this guy. You can tell, like you just know when you're hearing a head coach, an eventual head coach, when you hear him speak, right? You guys have heard it
for sure.
When a guy is talking,
Dan Campbell,
he might not be in the role yet, but you just know, all right, this guy has what it takes to be a head coach in the NFL, and he will be there someday. And so whether that's going to be a Jacksonville here quickly or it's going to be somewhere later on in his career, he's going to be a head coach at some point in time.
It's funny you say Dan Campbell because most people, and I don't think you and I were in this group, but most people were really critical of Dan Campbell and his introductory press conference and being like, oh, this guy's he's not cut out for the
Not
league.
me.
He was lambasted for that press conference.
Yeah, we could laugh at the kneecaps at the time and now, but even with that, it's still a guy you go, oh, I'd run through a wall for that guy.
Yeah,
People
I
are
agree.
going to be biting kneecaps off. Doug, how many pitching coaches did you go through in your career?
Well, you go through one at every level in the minor leagues.
No, when you were in the majors. Once you made it to the majors, how many pitching coaches did you go through?
Well, 1, 2, at least 4 or 5.
Was that
minimum
when you changed
and
pitching
that's just
coaches?
major leagues.
And does that? And how long was your career?
I played professionally 11 seasons. In the big leagues, I played parts of 6 seasons, I think it was.
Would you say 4 pitching coaches in the majors? Is that a lot? Is that a lot of turnover?
Yeah, it's a decent amount. But I went from the Rays, I went to the Marlins, then I went to the Royals.
And that's team changing, right?
Right.
Baker Mayfield's changed teams a couple times. 9 different offensive coordinators, and if Liam Cohen's gone, it will be 10.
Yeah, I think it's hard to compare a pitching coach to a quarterback coach because I think a quarterback coach a coordinator. Just because, I mean, you're talking about whole new offensive schemes. You're talking about a whole new playbook. You're talking about a lot of stuff.
It'd be closer to a quarterback's coach, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it'd be closer to a quarterback's coach.
So you're about to make the argument that it's harder for turnover with an offense coordinator in football than it is for a pitching coach in baseball?
I think it is.
And you've been dealing with it every freaking year.
Right. And it's a comfort thing. It's knowing that you got a guy in your corner at all times that, good or bad, you can go back to, and just in the middle of the game, you can talk to him and he can kind of slow you down, let you know what's going on from his point of view and how to fix certain things. It's just, I don't know, you build a confidence with a certain person and you feel really good about every Sunday going out there, or every day when I was, pitching in the big leagues, that this guy had your back no matter what. And you could work through whatever you get into, whatever situation it was, because you got this guy in your corner. And so, yeah, it's going to be really hard. I think to find a new coordinator would be difficult on Baker. It really would be, but
only so difficult. Like I still think you can't compare Baker Mayfield, young quarterback on the Cleveland Browns, and what that did to him, having to change coordinators as often as he did, to today, where he is with this offense and this group, and just as a human being where he is, I don't think it has the same impact that it would have when he was a young player.
It all depends on who they bring in. I mean, we're talking hypotheticals here. We don't even know if Cohen's gone, right?
True.
So we're kind of jumping the gun here on this, but
I think he's going to look at Trent Baalke and say, I'm out of here.
Hypothetically, if you do have to get a new coordinator, as long as they don't want to change a bunch of things, then yeah, it might not be that big of deal for Baker Mayfield, because he is a veteran quarterback. He does know how to lead a team, all that good stuff. But
I think
if you bring somebody in who wants to change some things, well, then all right, now it's going back and you got to relearn, a different playbook, all this kind of stuff. And yeah, I mean, that probably gets old.
I think you have to go back in. It doesn't necessarily have to be the Sean McVay tree, right? But I think you have to go to a guy who's running a similar style offense. Because that's what they did last year with Liam Cohen. Remember, he's a much better play caller and designed a lot of things that we did not see from Dave Canales. But when it came to the base principles of that offense and running the football, that zone blocking scheme, they've taken that from doing it under Dave Canales to doing it even better under Liam Cohen. They've got that offensive line really comfortable running in that zone offensive scheme. They don't use it all the time, but they've gotten so much better at it. I think to then just reverse course and do something completely different would be idiotic. They have to bring in a similar style offense, regardless of who the coordinator is, if Cohen leaves.
And you got to also look at the skill set of the offensive players that we have that fit that formula, right? They fit this certain type of offensive scheme, and why would you want to change that if that's how your offense is built? So I don't see them. Hopefully, if they do have to move on and find a new coordinator, I don't see them making huge changes to this offensive scheme. But it all depends on who they would bring in.
I saw Trevor Sikkema, who used to work around here and did great work in the area, and now he's with PFF. He threw out the name Chip Kelly, who, of course, just helped Ohio State capture a national championship. And you look at the pieces for Ohio State, and then you look at kind of that offense they ran, and you look at the Buccaneers offense. That actually, it seems like a crazy idea, but he's had success in the league before. He's had success at the college ranks. That's a guy who I trust as far as a guy who knows the league and knows how to run a system.
Yeah. It's always interesting to me if you go into a college coaching staff and take someone and bring them up into the NFL.
So they did with Liam Cohen, though.
I
mean,
agree.
He had been in the NFL,
I agree.
but...
And I'm not saying that it's a bad move, but it's always interesting, right? It doesn't always translate, right? Look at Nick Saban.
Urban Meyer.
Look at Nick Saban. Nick Saban is the best college football coach ever, right? And he went to the Miami Dolphins, and what happened? Like, it didn't work out. It didn't work out pretty quickly.
I don't think you can be so used to, like he was for so long, having your thumb on kids and then having to go coach grown men. I don't think it's difficult to fit in that locker room if you haven't been in that position in a long time.
Correct. And I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm not saying that by any means. I'm just saying that you got to be very specific on who you go out and get. The personality is a big deal. What role he's going to take over is a big deal when he gets to the NFL. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. So I'm not against that. But it would be an interesting move for sure. And I have such a tough time taking him serious with a Knicks hat on, sitting right next to me. Knicks hat and a Buccaneers sweatshirt.
They match.
The oranges match.
What did some Nick called it? Something on like a Philly tuxedo on the text line, where you wear like two different teams.
That's awesome.
Who can you take more seriously, me in the Bulls hoodie or him in the Knicks hat?
Dude, I grew up with Michael Jordan being my favorite guy ever.
Dude,
Dream Team, the original Dream Team, all that stuff.
Here's how young he is. Doug, here's how young Casey is. I asked him, like, are you actually a Bulls fan? Is that why you're wearing the hoodie earlier? He brought up Derrick Rose.
Oh, he didn't bring up Jordan?
He brought up several Bulls players and did not mention Michael Jordan.
Oh, my God.
Yeah,
Jordan Pippen. Dude,
dang. By the way, Joe Kim Noah jersey, too.
I almost gave Casey a heart attack today.
He almost plowed me, man.
Because typically when I text you guys to let me in, Fort Knox up here, like, you got to break into this place. There's like 16 different doors to get through.
Don't try it, people.
But, yeah, don't try it. Usually I'll text a Pat and Aaron, and Pat's always the one who comes and gets me. And today, somebody else was going in at the same time that I knew, so I walked in with them. I got through the door of security, and I'm walking right by Casey's door. He comes out of his door 100 miles an hour, like coming to get me in a rush.
Wow.
And I'm 2 feet away from him, and he just stares at me like he was just going to pass out.
It's great that he even knew that I needed you to get him, because I tried to tell him, and then I realized Aaron was about to stop talking during a commercial read that I had to take over. So I went, hey, can you... And then I stopped and started doing the commercial read, and then he somehow figured out what the hell I was asking him to do.
Yesterday, I was leaving the studio, and I was looking down at my phone. I was going out of the room here. I opened the door, and Pat, I just feel like a fist on my chest. And like I was pissed. I was mad. I look up, and it's Pat just standing there like halting me.
Yeah, just
I stopped him from running into me full speed.
And I, being me, I don't know what's wrong with me. I freaked out at him.
Yeah.
I was like, what's wrong with you?
He's like,
no.
dude.
He's like, what's wrong with you? You're not paying attention. You would have run right into me. I was like, you don't have to put your fist out into my chest. Like, I made it to him seem like he assaulted me and beat me
It wasn't
up.
even a fist either. I just kind of put my hand up real quick like this.
Yeah.
And I kind of caught him.
Your
It wasn't,
paw.
I didn't punch him in the chest. or anything.
It sounds like you did.
I wasn't
Sounds
ready.
like you tried to knock him
He
out.
tried to knock me out, and also I wasn't ready to be touched. I wasn't in
That's
the
on
mood
you.
to be touched.
That's well. Then you got to pick your head up. You got to open your eyes. Hey, Aaron's going to tell us about his good friends at Trajan Wealth here in a moment. But do you think that we should have our friend David Hersey open up his ribs?
Yes.
And his jalapeno poppers with shrimp inside?
I want cologne that
And
smells like those.
Should you and I start trying the food while Aaron has to try to do his commercial read? Because
I'll be done. Just go get it ready. I'll be done by it will be. You won't even have it in your mouth by the time I'm done with this.
Well,
thing.
done if we start right now.
And listen, go start right now. We'll continue with Doug Waechter on the other side, and we have a lot to get to here, especially in Major League Baseball. We'll get to that in just a few minutes. But when it comes to wealth management planning, one size doesn't fit all. We know this, and that's where Trajan Wealth and their fiduciary advisors are going to work with you to develop a portfolio, because your priorities come first, and they're going to keep your priorities in mind. So call Trajan Wealth today to discuss strategies on how to deal with the current market turbulence. And we're talking about wealth management, but also planning for your retirement. Trajan Wealth's going to help you out here. And if you aren't concerned with the uncertainties of retirement, well, good for you. I don't know how you're dealing with that stress. But
Good for you.
Seriously, a lot of people are dealing with the stress, and it is natural. And there's a way to prepare for the future. Trajan Wealth is going to help you, and they're going to make you feel comfortable by working closely with you. So whatever questions you have, they'll have the answers for you, as they're going to help you prepare for tomorrow with a retirement plan that's in line with your values and your risk tolerance. Everyone's different, so let them look under the hood today and help you out. Initial consultations are free. 813-550-1000. That's the number to call. 813-550-1000, or simply online at TrajanWealth.com. Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth LLC, and SEC registered investment advisor. Paid advertisement.
Can Doug Waechter make us feel as optimistic So before the break, I said, I wonder if Doug Waechter can make us feel as optimistic about the upcoming Rays season as we feel about how these ribs are going to taste. And now that I've tasted the ribs, I could never be this optimistic about the Rays. Good God, these are delicious. David Hersey, our friend in studio, hanging out. Thank you so much. Good, David, come around here for the people on YouTube so they can see.
For the good people of
yes.
YouTube.
This is the gentleman right here who just brought us these cowboy candy ribs. Unbelievable.
David, do you have a Pat Aaron shirt on, too?
Oh, yeah. He's an OG. OG
OG.
goon. And then I haven't tried the other one yet. Peach cobbler ribs.
Look at this one. This was the cobbler one. What do you see there?
Nothing.
Yeah. Bone.
I haven't tried that peach cobbler yet. I'm going to do that next commercial break.
I got it too. Doug, 30 days.
30
We're
days.
Exactly 1 month away from the Rays' first spring training game.
Yeah.
And the closer we get to the season, I'm not going to lie to you, the less optimistic I become.
Really? Well,
you need to
first
turn,
of all,
you
it's
need
hard
to turn us around.
I need to turn around from these ribs that are sitting right next to me.
You're distracted.
Really
Look at
hard.
Aaron. Aaron is so happy.
Face.
Aaron will not talk less.
Look at that face.
In any segment in his career than right now. I'm going to put him on camera. Look at this bleep eating grin on this kid's face. What is that? Is that the cowboy candy you're into now?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
The cowboy candy's really good because the jalapeno, I was just telling David, the jalapeno and bacon on top. The jalapenos, you get a little bit of kick because, it's jalapeno, but they burned off most of that, like, real, hot feeling. It's subtle, but it's so good.
Our program director, Nick Wise, is so mad at me. The show's over.
Is it?
I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm just eating the rest of the time. That's what's going on. No, I'll wait till the break.
That's why I got peach ribs right next to me. I'm waiting till the break.
I don't know that I've ever had meat dessert before, but these peach cobbler ribs are like meat dessert.
Hershey, get these at Steinbrenner Field. That's the move. I think it's going to look so weird.
It's time to quit the business that you're in, David, then get into barbecue.
I don't know how this season's going to look on the field, but as far as the field...
Not as good as this?
No. As far as the field, I still have no idea how this is going to look at Steinbrenner. Because
I'm psyched about that part of it, honestly.
I don't know. You guys are talking about how the Rays, you're not optimistic.
No.
They've made the playoffs 5 out of the last 6 years.
Good for them.
They have one of the best rotations and best bullpens in the game.
If they stay healthy.
So, and they're built on pitching and defense.
Good. Change it.
Right.
But you got to
I agree.
What's that done for them, Doug?
I would. They've got them in the playoffs the last 5 or 6 years.
Same
You
with the
got to get
Bucks.
to the dance.
Bucks go to the dance and fans want more.
At least you have a chance, right? At least you have a chance.
And somebody texted.
Wait, here's the because in contrary, a lot of teams go out there, they try to win it all in 1 or 2 years, and then you have 5 or 6 years where you got nothing.
You're right.
You depleted your minor league system. You have at least every single year, we have hope that, first of all, you're going to get into the playoffs, and secondly, you have a chance to run it. Right? At least there's hope there. And I feel I'm more optimistic than you guys. There's a lot of young talent that's going to step up. Junior Caminero is going to be big, I think, this year. You guys see what he's doing in winter ball, by the way?
Yeah, very much impressive. Albert Pujols, who I suggested he bring back with him because he might be the fifth. Yeah, he might be the 5th or 6th best hitter on this team if he comes and plays for us. And that's a little bit of hyperbole, but still, like somebody texted in yesterday, and I'm usually very optimistic about the Rays. And last year, I spent all year going, hey, this isn't the year. Next year's the year. They're going to make investments in the lineup before the next season, and they're going to be good enough. And unfortunately for me, they haven't done that. They haven't made the investments in the lineup. And somebody brought up the point because they did a great job over the offseason of rebuilding their farm system.
Yeah.
And they do have a great farm system right now.
They have one of the best.
Yeah.
It might be number 1 ranked in minor league baseball.
And somebody texted in like, hey, wait, you're not sold on our amazing farm system right now? And it's like, I am, but not necessarily for this season.
Right.
When I think if you had addressed the lineup in a real way, you might have a chance to compete for a World Series. And with the lineup I see, I don't feel that way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you still got time, right? Trade deadline's not for a while.
Oh, well, trade deadline.
I know. That's
We're
what I'm
talking
saying.
trade deadline?
Well,
You just turned him into Scooby-Doo.
I'm just saying you have a lot of time to make moves. We're not. You don't have to make a move by pitchers and catchers.
Yeah, but we do this
report
every year.
date.
We're like, they're going to make a move at the deadline, and they don't really make a move. They did the Savali move a couple years ago. That did not work out for them. So, yeah, I see what you're saying. They compete, but we're at the point, especially what the Dodgers are doing, what the Yankees are doing, guys are bringing in, but especially the Dodgers, getting to the playoffs isn't enough. And if you're naming, and you're right to do so, he's having a tremendous, offseason.
getting ready for this season. But if we're leaning on a 21-year-old kid in Junior Caminero to be the guy to get the offense over the hump,
Aaron says it's not fair. Too much pressure.
It's not fair to the kid.
Yeah, I mean, look, would I like to see more offense? Of course. I mean, who wouldn't? Who wouldn't want to see the Rays go land a big bat right now? That'd be ideal, right?
Or a solid bat or two.
I'm just saying, it's not that if you guys are making it sound like if we don't, then we have no hope.
I won't say
I'm not in that.
Aaron said no hope. I won't say no hope, but I'm not optimistic. And I thought I was going to be. I thought I was going to feel like this team was truly a World Series contender. I said all last season, next year, they're more likely to be a World Series contender than they are to be a playoff contender this season. And I don't think they've made that leap.
And every time you bring up farm system too, Doug, and I get it. Like you bring up the farm system, and a lot of people do. You think the farm system is going to help you win right now? No. And you know what else we hear about in the farm system over the years? We've heard Jonathan Aranda. We've heard Curtis Mead. We've heard countless others that are going to come up here and they're going to change things. And what have they done?
This one's a little bit different. You got Carson Williams, who's one of your top guys. I think he's ranked the #1 shortstop in the minor leagues right now. I mean, you got some dogs in the minor leagues at this point in time, and I'm not
but
just
are they
talking.
Be here this year?
Listen, second half of the season, you might start seeing some of these guys,
okay.
right? Yeah, no, I get it. But what I'm saying is, I mean, look, they rebuilt this. It was a focus last year to rebuild the minor league system, right? When you're shipping off Randy Arozarena and some of these other guys, you're doing it for the future, right? And I think we'll start seeing some of these guys at some point this year. And then moving forward, we're going to start seeing more and more of these guys. You know, again, I think this year you're going to rely on pitching and defense. That's what you're going to do, and that's always been the bread and butter for the Rays. I'm not saying I don't want to see more offense. I would love to see more offense, but I think at this point you're just going to look for other guys to step back up, right? Josh Lowe, I think, is going to have a better year than he had yet last year. He was hurt.
Yeah, he better.
Right? He was hurt. He was hurt to start the season. He was hurt multiple times. You put him back out there healthy. Remember what he did 2 years ago, right? He's going to have to regain that, that type of player, that playing skill. So it's just, is the offense questionable at this point in time? Yeah, I mean, you have a lot of questions with this offense, but, we'll see where they go.
All right, when we return.
I'll just leave it at that. We'll see where they go.
When we return, we've got a very important question for Doug Waechter when it comes to next Wednesday. That's coming up on the other side. That, and we'll ask him who he likes this weekend and going into the Super Bowl.
Can I ask another question, too, before on the other side as well?
No.
I want to ask you guys all the question. Would you choose a Super Bowl or would you choose love?
Well, I've experienced both, and they're both pretty fantastic. That's
Super Bowl or love?
That's all coming up.
Choosing these ribs.
Doug knows what he has to answer, just like me. But first of all, when it comes to the Rays, we're not as optimistic as Doug. But if we're going to be optimistic, if things are going to go well, one thing is for sure, like any team, they're going to have to stay healthy. Just like with you, if you're going to have a good year, you need to stay healthy. So if you're dealing with an injury, we need you to do the right thing. And it's easy to take care of it because you've got access to world-class orthopedic care right here in your own backyard with Florida Orthopedic Institute in partnership with Tampa General Hospital.
Getting excited for the show today, getting ready for the ribs today. I started to crunch some numbers. I was just looking at it. I was just looking at Doug's career, some of the injuries he went through. And I came up with a calculation that if Doug would have went to Florida Orthopedic Institute in partnership with Tampa General Hospital, 7 more years of his career, 7 more years is what you would have experienced, Doug. He's trying to get his mic on. It's not working. 7 more years is what you would have gotten. That's just my calculation. That's
7 more. Can I go back and do it now?
No, you can't.
No, my body's too much of a mess. Nobody can fix me now.
They can fix you, but you don't have 7 more years left in you. Maybe 2. Well, listen, if you're dealing with a nagging injury, you know who to call. Access that world-class orthopedic care right here in Tampa Bay. Call 1-800-FL-ORTHO or go to floridaortho.com.
Tampa Bay's
TV. Start streaming today.
Now, back to the Pat and Aaron Show on 95.3 WDAE and AM 620.
No, that commercial break was too short. That was too short. I need more of these. Unbelievable. These cowboy candy ribs. I am obsessed. The bacon and the jalapeno, and oh my God, it's good. Hey, Doug.
Hey,
before
hey,
we
Pat. Hey, Pat.
Hey, Doug.
I want to get into Aaron's question too, because I think it's a funny one. But we do have to have a very important conversation about next Wednesday.
Do we?
Yeah. Okay. So next Wednesday, Aaron and I live from Mazda of Clearwater doing the show. We're gonna have a food truck out there, so there will be some lovely vittles from our friend Brian.
Vittles?
Well, I don't know. It's Is
that a word?
I've never heard it in my life. Vitals?
Vitals?
You've never heard vittles?
Vittles?
Tender vittles?
No.
Dave, you ever heard that? You have?
Yes, Dave knows.
Turn his mic up. What's a vittle?
Yeah. You got to explain this now.
I just consider just food, what they're making and stuff. It's
Vittle?
Yeah.
All right.
Delicious.
Well, you
vittles.
brought in some delicious vittles.
Yes, he did.
Pat,
That's a real word.
I'm a lot older than all of y'all, so.
What vittles are you talking about, Pat?
I told you our friend Brian from Wicked Chops. He's bringing out the food truck with his chopped cheese, and he's got a great breakfast menu. He'll be out there with us next Wednesday. So we're live from Mazda of Clearwater next Wednesday. We won't be here in studio, but we would love for it to still be a Waechter Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm
it's
in.
not far from here if you want to come hang.
Yeah.
Like, what, 10 minutes from here? Not even?
Yes,
Like
10, 15 minutes from right here. And so next week, again, we're live from Mazda of Clearwater all morning long.
Is that up US 19?
Yeah.
Yep, just south of Roosevelt and East Bay Drive.
Easy to get to. I just text because I've been over there. I just got my Mazda 3. My friend Mickey, who I've known for years, works over there too. So I just texted him. I was like, "Hey, we're coming next week." He's like, "Yeah, we know." So they're goons over there. They're
Awesome,
psyched,
man.
so.
Yeah, I'm in.
So next Wednesday, you can come out. First of all, you can look at one of the beautiful new line of Mazdas, but also you can meet Aaron and myself, and you can meet Doug Waechter, who will be with us for the 8 o'clock hour as well, and get yourself some delicious food and a new car if you want to. So it's going to be a great time.
Yeah, that's a packed hour.
Listen to this, guys. Listen to this. Over 2,000 single NFL fans across the U.S. were polled, and this is what they came up with this. It was Wetten.com.
What's the website? Vittles.com.
Vittles.
So we said
2,000 fans, 48%, almost half of single NFL fans would rather see their team win the Super Bowl than find true love.
Oh, wow. Who does these polls? That's what I want to know. Somebody got hired to go to literally go walk around, asked if they're single, and then poll these people.
Which team's fan base do you think the majority had the most fans that said they'd rather win the Super Bowl than find true love?
It's got to be a team that's never won, right? I'm going to go Detroit.
I was going to say that's probably a good guess.
Nailed it. How many? 74% of Detroit Lions fans, single Detroit Lions fans, would say they'd rather the Lions win a Super Bowl than find true love. And Michigan leads all states with 78% of that. Oh. So that is very interesting. I'm single. I would not trade a Super Bowl for my true love.
Wow.
No,
I thought you would say you would.
Buccaneers sweatshirt on?
A Bucs sweatshirt, Knicks hat. I'm doing, as Nick called earlier, the Philly tuxedo.
So we've seen the Bucs win a Super Bowl, so that's out. What if it was the Knicks? Would you trade it for the Knicks?
True love,
Listen,
man.
I'm 34. If you would have asked me 7 years ago, I'd be like, screw true love. Let's go championship. I'm at that point in my life where true
You're
love
so
sounds
sensitive now.
I'm sensitive.
His biological clock is ticking, Doug.
Listen, I'm almost
my cousin Vinny. What a great line, dude.
Yeah.
That is so much. My biological clock is ticking.
I'm almost
like
geriatric,
this.
so I got to
almost.
Yeah, so
Are those
no.
orthopedic shoes?
No, they're not. They're not.
You got to change, dude. If you're going to find her, you got to change. You got to be more willing to sacrifice.
Isn't this awesome? You get to hear love advice from Pat.
That's right.
David Hurst.
Hey, I'll be back in 20
morning.
years in May. All right?
David OG.
Hey, I'm coming up on 20.
David OG Goon in studio shaking his head. Don't change. I'm not going to change. I can't change. I tried. I can't change who I am. I've tried to change me.
I thought you were dating somebody serious, no?
Yeah, it ended.
That happened.
Did it end bad?
No, I don't really
Not
have,
for Aaron.
No.
I don't have.
It's not you, it's me type thing? George Costanza?
Honestly, though, I know it's like a cliche. It's so true in every relationship I have. When it comes to an end, it really isn't them. Like all the girls I date are lovely. I just don't. It's me. They're lovely. It's me. It's not them. By the way, I am soft, but I am out for blood. So don't forget that, people. Don't mistake that. Okay.
Whatever that means.
Blood and true love, apparently.
Blood and true. That's a reality show.
I'm out for more
Probably.
vittles.
Yeah, Vittles, blood, and true love is what I'm looking for. So yeah, this
Can't
is.
believe you guys have never heard Vittles. I think it's cat food.
It sounds
that's
like you
called
made
tender
it up.
Vittles. Right? Cat food, tender Vittles. See, Dave's
No
again.
way.
Yes.
Well, I don't own a cat. But
Let me see where the Tampa Bay is on this list.
Where are the Jets, Aaron?
Is
this a real? This doesn't sound like a real.
29% of Bucs fans would take a Super Bowl over true love. Now, once, like Pat said, the Bucs just recently won.
Yeah, we've had one, so it makes it easier.
The Jets are at 52%. I mean, the Lions at a staggering 74%. No one's even close.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, LA Chargers.
You know why?
Chargers,
second.
huh?
Yeah, single
Really?
LA Chargers. Yeah.
Well, you know
Very
why? Because nobody loves the Chargers.
Well, go to the game.
Like, nobody loves the Chargers.
How about before you decide if you want a Super Bowl or true love, you actually go to the games because people don't go to those games.
Think about the Midwest. It sucks so bad outside all the time that you never leave the house.
It feels like the Midwest
right?
now outside.
You live up there, you see a good looking woman like every 6 months. So you're like, yeah, true love, what the hell is that? Like there's no hope. Just give me a Lions Super Bowl for crying out loud.
Men that come from up north to Florida to visit are disgusting. It's like they haven't seen a woman in a year. Seriously, when they see women walking around here because everyone's in short shorts and bikini tops, they're like, they've been a caged animal for years.
You got that phrase wrong, by the way.
Oh my!
Take out who come to Florida from up north, and the whole statement is accurate.
Not all men and women?
Men are disgusting.
Oh, yeah.
No.
We are disgusting animals.
The Bills, I'm shocked that they're only third at 58%. They got to step up their game. You don't love your Bills enough. That Mafia is not as strong as I thought it was, apparently.
Tiffany and Tampa
NFC
on the bar.
South looking like?
Falcons towards the bottom, 43%. Carolina Panthers towards the bottom, 36%. Saints at 50%. We don't care enough about our Super Bowls in the South, apparently.
No, it's because it's nice out.
This is awesome. Can you guys read those texts, please?
On the Bartow Ford DAE text line from Tiffany in Tampa, Aaron, it's definitely you.
It is.
He's got 2 texts directly blaming Aaron.
Aaron, first off, quit being a degenerate. Yeah, that's true, too.
Yeah.
That does hurt me.
Yeah, no, that probably
when
is not a positive that women look and say,
It's-
oh, wow, he bets on everything.
And it's not just betting, it's lifestyle, it's everything. But the betting is a problem. Like, when they look at me, they're like, dude,
Is it the biggest problem, you think?
No.
Why don't you start calling it investing? Maybe then.
I've come up with everything in the book
Hey,
is
I'm
to try to
investing
shine
on this
it up.
game tonight.
Yes. Well, you know what you know what typically works for me?
I'm investing
Which
on this line.
is such an excuse. It's my job. I got to watch this game for my job.
It's a great excuse. I've been using it with Heidi for years.
Yeah.
I'm sweating out bets in the back of my head.
Heidi doesn't even care either. She couldn't care less if I want to watch sports. Last night I'm watching the Lightning game. She's watching one of her shows on her laptop on YouTube TV or Amazon or whatever it was.
Yeah.
We're just both chilling in bed, hanging out, eating dinner, and eating dinner in bed. It happens sometimes when you work weird hours.
When you're Pat.
Yeah, when you're me. All right? It's a comfortable place to eat. She never cares when I watch sports.
So
but it is a great
gross.
excuse.
Yeah.
Eating in bed is one of the more heinous things you could do as a
Why?
human. Dude,
Describe to me
You're
why.
bound to get crumbs everywhere.
Yeah, you gotta be
sleep
smart.
in the crumbs.
rolling around in crumbs.
No, you
I
gotta
don't
be
know,
smart.
All the time. It's fun.
No.
Thank
How about you just
gotta keep
sit-
your vittles to the kitchen.
Yeah, sit at a table like a normal human.
Listen, our table's got a lot of stuff on it, and it's comfortable.
Take
Again,
stuff off the table.
no.
And store it in other places.
Listen,
You got all this football talk. I want to know who you guys are got for the Super Bowl. Are we talking about the Super Bowl at all yet?
you want to talk about the Super Bowl?
I want to talk about a little bit. You guys are talking all this football, and
Talking true
Aaron's
love.
trying to talk true love.
Talking true love here.
You're making up words over there. Let's go. I want to talk
Vittles
some-
is a word.
Give me some real football
It's these
talk.
ribs.
Super Bowl predictions from all of us, or at least from Doug Waechter, and we'll talk about this weekend's game with Doug Waechter, games with Doug Waechter coming up on the other side. But first, Aaron wants to tell you about your future.
That's right. Trajan Wealth, they're going to help you out here when it comes to your future. I'm talking wealth management and retirement planning. Let Trajan Wealth help you develop a plan that gives you peace of mind. And I see Pat's got some peace of mind right now as he's eating those delicious ribs
So
from
good.
David Hersey. Well, you want some peace of mind when it comes to your future retirement planning, wealth management, Trajan Wealth. They're going to help you out here. And it starts with that
First phone call, that free initial consultation, 813-550-1000. That's the number to call. And they've got offices conveniently located here in Tampa. So go ahead, head in there and do a face-to-face appointment. But if you're saying, I'm more comfortable with a virtual appointment, I don't really have enough time right now to go in for a face-to-face appointment, they'll do that for you as well. They're in it for you, as at Trajan Wealth, they're going to help you prepare for tomorrow with a retirement plan that's in line with your values and your risk tolerance. So give them that call today, 813-55.
AM 620.
The Blender.
The Blender on the Pat Aaron Show, as always, is brought to you by Mazda of Clearwater. If you're thinking about a new or pre-owned vehicle, the choice is clear. It is Mazda of Clearwater. We're going to get into the AFC and NFC championship games here in just a moment. But before we do, listen, the championship window is open for 4 teams still, but your windows, they're important as well.
They are so important. That was a very good lead in.
That was a nice segue.
And we're talking about the highest quality impact windows in Florida for over 50 years. Reese Windows and Doors, and most windows installed in just 6 to 8 weeks. Financing options available, including 0% for up to 4 years. Get that free quote today. It's easy. ReeseWindows.com, REECE Windows.com.
I think I'm high on barbecue. I think I'm high on barbecue right now. This stuff is so good. Again, thank you to our friend David Hersey for coming in and bringing us all this amazing food. Doug, AFC, NFC champion. I know I keep yelling at you today.
Hey,
I'm excited. Listen, this is what happens when I get a little food in me. I get excited. That's right. I'm high on ribs.
High on candied
I look
ribs.
like Elon Musk at the thing the other day with my.
No, you don't.
Did you see his mind?
Yeah, I saw something else.
Well, no, not that thing. No, that thing. That was. That was
Don't do
odd.
that. You did kind of just do
well,
that.
no, but not that.
You're doing it right now.
Did you see the
keep
other
doing
video where he was like standing behind people and he was just kind of like doing this deal? Like, I think he was high on ribs at the inauguration. Doug Waechter, he's high on ribs with us. Who do you
Cowboy
like this
candy
weekend?
Ribs. So let me tell you, unfortunately, because I like Washington. I like them as a team. I like Jaden. I think he's awesome. Unfortunately, I think they're going to end the season this coming weekend.
By how much? Score?
What's the line?
6.5. 6.5 depending.
I think it'll be closer than 6.5.
Ooh, Nick Wise is in to get some ribs. He's got
I think
some
it'll be closer
candy
than
on his
6.5.
mouth.
I waved him in. I was like, you
these
gotta
are
come get some of this.
Actually, they're all really good.
Kansas City or Buffalo? That's the big one. I'm on Buffalo. Everyone's on Kansas City.
I want Buffalo to win so bad because I'm so tired of Kansas City. I'm like spent with Kansas City. You know, all the stuff. Like, first of all, they're winning every year. I get it. Pat Mahomes is awesome. I mean, he's awesome. But I'm just tired of seeing them win.
And
right?
statistically wise, this year, and if you watch the games, middle of the pack.
Yeah.
We know he's not that guy, but middle of the pack.
But people don't factor in enough that they know how to win in the postseason. That is the intangible that you cannot quantify.
They win close games, and that's Patrick Mahomes.
Listen, Patrick Mahomes understands how to win the big game.
So does Andy Reid.
Right. And that is a huge deal when you go into a postseason game and you're going against a team like the Bills who have not won it.
Do we lose Liam Cohen today? Is Liam Cohen going to join the Jacksonville Jaguars today? If you listen to reports, second interview, first one in person, the first was virtual. I have a bad feeling that today or tomorrow he's gone.
Listen, here's how I operate in situations like this, Aaron Jacobson.
You eat ribs.
I will eat the ribs.
In your bed.
I will eat the ribs.
Gross.
I always look, it's like when I say when you get into the playoffs, you have to be optimistic. You may not believe that your team is ready to win a Super Bowl, but man, you're in there and you got to believe. Every game going into it, you got to believe. And I feel the same way about this. I'm nervous as hell that we might lose Liam Cohen. Like I'm nervous as hell we might lose some football games, but I'm going to believe until they rip that SOB away from us.
Casey Warner, what else do we have in the
home.
blender today?
All right, Doug Waechter, we got 3 new baseball Hall of Famers, Ichiro Suzuki, Billy Wagner, and CeCe Sabathia. What do you think about the most recent Hall of Fame class?
So it's awesome because I played, these guys are like all the guys I played against, right? Ichiro Suzuki was one of my first strikeouts, and I'm going to tell you right now, he was...
Wow.
It's a hard strikeout to get, man.
Oh, my God. It was so hard to get. I mean, that dude could hit a foul ball off the ground. Like, he just did not strike out, but it was the first or second time I think I faced him. I was able to get him on a changeup away, and it was one of the best feelings I've had. It was in Seattle, but to watch that guy hit BP, the amount of stories that I've heard about Ichiro Suzuki, he was just... I mean, he was on another level on everything he did. All of them are well-deserving.
What CeCe did in 08 was crazy.
He is one of the best left-handers of the game in my generation. I mean, that guy is well-deserving, too. He is a stud on the mound. He took over games, just took them over.
Took over teams.
And, yeah, his slider, everybody talks about his fastball, but when his slider was dotted on, I mean, that's why he pitched so long, is because his breaking pitch.
Was Ichiro as difficult to strike out as anybody you faced?
Yes.
Yeah.
He was the most difficult. I think I think I only struck him out once. But of course, I lead with that. You know what I mean?
Early 2000. Did you ever get?
03 was my call up.
Was Tony Gwynn retired at that point?
Yeah, he was done at that point.
Not too far.
I saw Billy Waechter throw, and I'll tell you what, it was at Tropicana Field. First time I ever saw him throw, it was with Houston, and you could hear the ball coming out of his hand. It wasn't
not
like,
hitting the mitt, coming out of his hand.
Not hitting the mitt. There was it was like I don't know how to explain it, but it was a snap.
Like a bullet whizzing
by
your head?
Snap that you could hear the ball come out of his hand. That's how hard that dude threw.
One of the best strikeout pitchers of all time.
Well, he threw over 100 miles an hour when no one threw over 100 miles an hour. Nowadays, with all the stuff that they have now, with the with the science behind working out and just the advancement of just getting your body right, I think he could probably sit 103, 105.
When I was a kid, I would base my pitching studs on how fast could they throw in the baseball game that I was playing online.
Yeah, like
Randy Johnson, they got him up to 106.
Online?
On video games.
Yeah, I was
like
online.
I don't speak video game talk. I
didn't know. I just wanted people to know what the hell you're talking about.
I think it was Ken Griffey Jr., the baseball game for N64, and it was 106 I would get on the gun with Randy. There's no way Randy was throwing 106.
No chance. But I used to wear my hat backwards because of Ken Griffey Jr.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
When did that stop?
When I stopped hitting.
So a long time ago.
Yeah, a long time ago.
David Hersey, man, great
Yes.
ribs. Really, really appreciate you. Appreciate all your support over the years, but coming in today, hanging out with us today was awesome.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
I shouldn't say raised money, but donated a bunch of money when I did the menswear pink thing. Unbelievable guy, David. Thank you so much for coming by today. And always, Doug, thank you for hanging out. It's
so
always
I'll see
fun.
you guys Mazda next week.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
Yeah.
For David, Doug, Aaron Jacobson, and Casey Warner in the penalty box, I'm Pat Donovan. Thanks so much to the men and women who serve our country and allow me to be a moron and hang out with these guys for a living. Sorry, Mom. Not the rest of you.
We love sports people, but don't choose Super Bowls over true love.
Never.
Or else the world doesn't exist because you can't have babies and we stop existing. That's how